Well, he's the all-time playoff leading scorer for the Seattle Thunderbirds. Matt Barzal, 62 points in 47 games. He's got a point in all 14 in 2017 with 22 over that span. And Keegan Kolesar, what a night on Wednesday. A goal and 2 assists. His 4th three-point game of the playoffs, and he leads Seattle with 26 points. His goal was also his 10th. And Austin Wagner for the Regina Pats, no points in the series, still leads Regina with 14 goals in these playoffs. Likely not at 100%, but he will try to change that tonight as Regina looks to bounce back this evening with a big Game 5 from Ken Washington next.
They score! Sam Steele and the Pats score first.
The Pats jumped out early, but the Thunderbirds struck often Wednesday night. An offensive explosion put Seattle faithful in a frenzy. The best of 7 is deadlocked again. Tonight, one team will push themselves to the brink of a championship. Game 5, next on Shaw.
It's the 46th and final home game of the year for the Seattle Thunderbirds, and it's the largest crowd for T-Birds hockey since they moved to the ShoWare Center in 2009. Good evening and welcome to Levy Machinery, WHL on Shaw and Access, and this TV here in the United States, and Bobdale Club's WHL Central. I'm Andy Neal. 3 games to open up this WHL Championship Series that were separated by 1 goal, 2 of those in overtime, and then the dam broke on Wednesday as the Seattle Thunderbirds flooded the Regina Pats net with 6 unanswered goals and a 5-goal decision to tie the best of 7 at 2 wins apiece. And now the winner tonight will head to Regina for Game 6 on Sunday with the first crack at hoisting the Ed Chanel Cup. As we get a look at how things have shaped up through 4 games of this series, so tough to tell either side who had the edge through 3 games with those 1-goal decisions. Regina had a 1-0 lead in Game 4, but then 3 in the first, and then 3 more in the second for Seattle, and a 6-1 pounding to even the series at 2. And as impressive as the offensive outburst was for the Thunderbirds in Game 4, shutting down the league's highest scoring team was also extra sharp as well. First time all year that Regina was held to under 20 shots with 19 on Carl Stankowski. So we'll find out tonight who has the edge, bound for the Saskatchewan Capital for Sunday's Game 6. And for their thoughts, upstairs we go to the men calling it once again. Peter Labardius alongside Kevin Sawyer. Gentlemen.
Andy Neal, thank you kindly. As always, Kevin, it was a very impressive performance by the Seattle Thunderbirds in that 6-1 triumph. And for my money, the driving force of it was co-captain Scott Enser. Only 1 assist, but he was everywhere.
He is so infectious. There's something extremely satisfying in watching Scott Enser pour his heart and his soul into his craft, and he does it in so many different ways. He's first to pucks. There's absolutely no quit in his game. Face-offs, penalty kills, on the body. This guy is their spiritual leader. He'll catch you on the back check. He'll catch you with a big check. He might even catch you up by surprise with his effort. You don't see it coming in so many ways. Maybe the hardest thing for this guy to catch is his breath, as he never stops, draws penalties, and you can see him right there. He leaves it all on the ice nightly.
Well, you mentioned as the game wore on, it's the oldest cliche in sports. Your best players need to be at their best. And 3rd-round pick of the Columbus Blue Jackets, Big Keegan Kolesar, certainly was on Wednesday.
You need your guys to lead the way on the top line, and the little details that were the difference in last game were that, blocking shots. When he does that, when Kolesar is physical, very effective, and when they have that assembly line approach, everyone gets a touch before they put a bow on it. Boy, that led to a heck of a lot of opportunities. Kolesar got his first goal of the series, and opportunities. Gropp got his on the power play, and at the end of the day, if you want to go somewhere special, you need your horses to run, and that's what Seattle's got going on right now.
Unfortunately, once again, the same story for Regina. They will not have Adam Brooks in the lineup. We still are hoping to maybe see him when the series shifts, which means, Kevin, more emphasis on some of not even necessarily the role players, but people like Philip All, and we've seen him be so effective at times this spring, the Ottawa fourth rounder.
6'4", 225. He's got 5 goals and 16 points in the postseason. And I'll tell you what, when this guy is going, you certainly feel his presence. He can block shots. He can take care of the little details. He's physical down low. And I think he does his best work below the goal line. But I'll tell you, he's a guy that has the ability. There's the turnover in game 2 with the quick release to tie the game. When Philip All gives his all for all 60 minutes, he is the guy that has the ability to be a game changer, maybe even a series changer. I know one thing for sure. They need more depth, and it has to come from guys like All.
Nick Henry, second in the league amongst rookie point getters with 85. You wonder when it will be his time to make a mark in this set.
Well, again, you have to have that supporting cast. We see Seattle's depth coming in all top 3 lines, and at times even 4. But Henry is a guy that had 35 goals regular season, 81 points, and a great start to the playoffs. He had 10 points in his first 10 games. He's got 2 points in his last 10. So he's a guy that can be a difference maker. He's only 17. He's got things to learn, no doubt about it. But I think that he has to be a piece and has to start producing for the Pats to have a chance to have success here in the final.
Andy, on a rainy night in the Seattle area, the stage is set and the crowd is ready.
Are they ever? And the good news for Regina, though, they bounced back after losses really well in these playoffs, 5-1 in that situation, including winning the last 4. Not surprisingly, the last 3 WHL Championships going into Game 5, tied at 2 games apiece, all ended in 7 games. Edmonton in 2014 against Portland and 2012. They won Game 5 in both of those series. Vancouver won Game 5 10 years ago, but then Medicine Hat won Game 6 and 7 to take that. Nobody be surprised if we go the distance in this one as well. Paul Klein is the national anthem singer here in Kent, Washington, and he will serenade the building from section 105. Enjoy Game 5.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing. Remove your hats and join the Thunderbirds as we honor the United States, Canada, and our militaries here and overseas with the presentation of our national anthems. Please sing along as Paul Klein leads us in O Canada and the Star-Spangled Banner.
Please, everyone, join along with me. O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Once again, Paul Klein.
Tonight in Game 5, we will break a deadlock. The Western Hockey League Championship Series is tied at 2 before the set moves to the Queen City, where the Western League will crown a new champion. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the ShoWare Center. Whether you're looking in Coquitlam, British Columbia, Paradise Valley, Alberta, Melville, Saskatchewan, Gimli, Manitoba, in the United States, we're delighted to have you, and we think we've got a gem in store for you. John Paddock's team coming off a 6-1 setback in game number 4. Tonight's starting goaltenders: Tyler Brown, the 20-year-old from Winnipeg. His numbers in the playoffs. And at the other end, 17-year-old Calgary product, Carl Stankowski. He turned aside 18 of 19 in the 6-1 triumph here on Wednesday. And Kevin, sold out. Fantastic atmosphere for what will be the last time the Thunderbird fans will have a chance to watch their favorite team at home. They're 7-2 in the postseason in this building. The Pats are 6-4, and here we go. Stankowski to handle behind the net. He'll reverse it towards Bear, but Liedall is there with Steele and Henry tonight. Wagner has been in that spot the last couple of games. Harrison one-hands it into the corner. Liedall protects it. Just signed this week by the New York Rangers. Dawson Liedall to Sam Steele. Guarded closely by Barzell. The Pats with a good opening shift, and we've seen that in the last 2 games in this building before Barzell picks a pocket and now makes his way out to center for Donovan Niles, who shovels it in on Brown, and he'll hang on.
Levitt Machinery's WHL on Shaw is brought to you by Levitt Machinery, online at levittmachinery.com.
Well, earlier in the series, we saw Paddock make an adjustment, put Wagner up on that top line with Steele and Liedall. He's gone back up with Nick Henry on that right side, and I'll tell you, that start is exactly what you want from your leading line. Win the face-off. We've seen it, like you said, Pete, in the last 2 games. 45 seconds spent in the offensive zone for the Regina Pats. That's the start they wanted.
Face-off win by Enser, who was as good as anyone in game number 4 of this series. Here's Wyatt Slobosian. Sends it in. Philip Ball first to it along with Aaron Hyman. Wagner to the line. Mahura, he scores! Josh Mahura, 105 in, and Regina strikes first.
Well, how things can change so quickly. When you look back to last Wednesday night, the Regina Pats were outchanced 25-6 by Seattle, outshot 36-19 in the very first shot and the first chance of the game. The puck goes up the wall to Mahura. He makes no mistake about hitting the net nice and low, and that's his 5th goal in his last 7 games. We're just over 1 minute in, 1:05 into this, and Regina comes up with an all-note, also desperate, great start after some might say an embarrassing 6-1 loss on Wednesday.
Josh Mahura, who has yet another goal in this series, his 3rd, points in 4 in a row, gives the Pats exactly what they were looking for, the game's first goal.
Well, we talked about the net front presence, and Regina does such a great job of that on the power play, but they had presence there again. And it's the simple things in the game that often get you what you want, and that's puck to the net, bodies net front. I'm not sure Stankowski saw the shot. It didn't redirect off of anybody, and again, what a huge, huge early goal for the Pats.
We showed you both Austin Wagner and Philip Ball off the top of our show. They draw the assist. For Wagner, fourth-round pick of the Los Angeles Kings, who's been very good in this series. That's his first point. So the Pats, as they did in game number 4, score the game's first goal. And icing will be the call. 125 in.
We talked about the shot differential in game 4. When you look how both of these teams line up, you're starting to see a little bit of a separation here. Seattle's big guns really took over that last game. We talked about Kolasar and Drop, each registering 3 and 2 points respectively. Look at the goal score, 13-9. Seattle pulled away, and the shots were another thing. 129-106 in the favor of Seattle. That'll be something that Regina will want to have a response to tonight, getting the rubber to the net more often.
Donovan Niles tees it up, Strand a shot, the net nearly dislodged, which the home crowd not in support of, and the Pats, Robbie Holmes, able to chop it out to center. Holmes scored the game winner in game 3. Barzal still looking for his first ever championship series goal and riding a 14-game point playoff streak. Shoulder to Henry, his pass too far for Steele, and a faceoff will come back once again in Regina territory. Stu Walters is between the benches.
Yes, thank you very much, Pete. And Adam Brooks, you mentioned it off the top. The Pats captain missing a 4th straight game, and even though he hasn't been on the ice since that light 15-minute twirl he took on Wednesday morning, he has been able to push it off the ice on the stationary bike for a couple straight days, working up the heart rate, working up a sweat, so there are some positives there. Still no update from the team, an official update estimate when he might return, but I'm told don't rule out him returning in this series.
Well, the Pats supporters, again, another game sold out in less than 5 minutes for Sunday's Game 6 as Drop races in with that excellent speed that he possesses and tests Tyler Brown.
Well, we talked about that rush, the top line for Seattle and how they entered the zone last game. They sure give Brown all that he can handle. They moved the puck around snappy, boy, and there was another example of it. There was no second thought from Drop as he has the puck on a stick and puts the puck to the net, and perhaps that's their way of saying, let's test a goalie that we rocked 6 goals against on 24 shots in game 4. Look for them to be throwing the pill on net often.
It's been an interesting trip for Tyler Brown to Ken Washington. His 35 saves in game 3 propelled the Pats to the triumph that night. Aaron Hyman, a wrist shot, blockered away confidently by the aforementioned Brown. Niles back out with Barzal and Kolazar. Against all, Wagner and Slobozhin. This is Niles to Barzal for Kolazar. Fails to take it with him, and here comes the speedy Wagner. Can he get away? Not this time. As Hyman raced back, the 6'5" defender to impede his progress. Here's Kolazar taking it to the middle, a weak backhander, he fanned on it, and the Pats will turn in transition with Jeff DeWitt. DeWitt in entry, Holmes, stopped by Stankowski.
We talked about how Seattle really outchanced and outshot the Pats last game, and a great job defensively they did that led to this opportunity offensively. It was Kolesar entering the zone wide, and all 5 blue jerseys collapsed and condensed to the middle of the ice. The turnover ensued, and in transition, the Pats come 200 feet and get a chance of their own.
Nice entry by DeWitt to Holmes. 3 goals in the playoffs. The Sherwood Park product only scored twice during the entire regular season.
Got a chance to talk to his mom on my walk around before we went on the air tonight, and she says, we talked about his baseball talents, and says once this is over, and when it's over, and his mind is on hockey, but he's got baseball opportunities waiting for him. Everybody wants a piece of Robbie.
Nice problem to have.
Yeah.
Buziak after it, as is DeWitt, and now Holmes takes over. DeWitt, the former Red Deer Rebel. He moves away from Strand, he scores! Jeff DeWitt short side, and the Pats take a 2-0 lead.
Well, what a response, and you knew that they had a lot of pride in their team, and you knew that they had to come back and have pushback after a 6-1 loss. And I'll tell you what, Jeff DeWitt had 4 goals coming into tonight's game. 3 of them came in round 3 against the Lethbridge Hurricanes, including the game winner in game 6, and he hasn't seen a whole lot of time in this final round. but he's making the most of it here tonight as he makes a real good power move, sheds the check. Great shot to that top corner down low. It's not a great angle. I would think that Stankowski would like to have this one back regardless. A nice shot by Jeff DeWitt, and the Regina Pats up 2-0. 3:22 into the first period.
And Robbie Holmes must have heard us. He'll pick up one of the 2 assists, the other to Connor Hobbs, tied again for the top scoring defenseman of the playoffs with Seattle's Ethan Bear. And now, after Regina strikes twice in the first 3:17, the Pats will find themselves shorthanded.
Well, it's going to be Mr. Plus Minus Sergei Zabrowski as he goes down. You can see him lose his balance right there as he goes. He clips Grop. And it looks to me like no blood was drawn, so it'll just be the 2 minutes. There's the infraction as Zabrowski loses control of his balance and his stick. And a timely power play here that Seattle will want to capitalize on.
The Thunderbirds were 2 for 7 on the power play in the 6-1 triumph on Wednesday. Here's Barzell loping in, puts on the brakes, finds Drop, who scored one of those 2 power play goals. Drop, the New York Rangers second rounder, finds Ethan Bear, who has points in every game of this series. Drop, wrist shot, ground toucher, loose in front, and the Pats able to knock it out of harm's way and slide it down the ice.
And that's why you never give up on a play right there, as it looked to me like Brown had that covered. The puck was laying loose. Bodies collapsing in net front. Can't capitalize on that second opportunity.
Drop for Bear. Nice take in his skates in front. Barzell backhander. Big kicks in. Rebound. And Brown got a piece of that as well. Rod Polizar. Can't wait to get another look. Barzell for True, who has 7 power play goals amongst the 11. He's tied up. And again, the Pats hear it. What a start to game number 5. Here's Sammy Moylinen. He has goals in the last 2 games. Enser, Tishka. They move it on the perimeter, off the skate, courtesy of Enser, and it goes wide. And Chase Harrison, the 20-year-old veteran, clears it the distance.
The biggest detail in Game 4 for me was how Seattle moved the puck around way quicker. They weren't holding it nearly as much, and we're seeing examples of that in this power play. A couple quick snappy passes leading to chances.
Niles, Moylan, and rebound, they score! Scott Enser!
Well, we hit him up in the open, and we talked about all the little things that Scott Enser does. He had an assist and his first point in this series in Game 4. And look at the distribution of the puck and the entry, the give and go, the shot. But the detail was that he followed it up with Niles, not Enser, who gets this goal off the backhand. You drive to the net, and you know good things are going to happen. You have to have the presence, especially in playoff-style games. And there's the response. You knew that they had to come up with a good power play. They had a heck of a lot of opportunities early, and a nice job by Niles going to the net to swallow up that rebound.
Donovan Niles is 8th on the power play, and Seattle right back in it. Big hit delivered. This place is buzzing, and another penalty, and it looks like it's going to the Pats again.
We're going to see Robbie Holmes, and it's going to come off of a scrum on the wall. And there you see the look of John Paddock as he had a comfortable early lead, 2-0. Look at Robbie Holmes, number 32 on the wall there as he's giving the shove, and he grabs the puck. We talked about the baseball. It was a nice catch. Just held on to it a bit too long. Just to delay a game for 2 minutes.
So Seattle 1 for 1 right back to the power play after the goal by Niles is 8th. From Enser, who has assists in back-to-back games, and Tishka. Bear, Barzell, Drop, Polizar, True, block shot by Connor Hobbs, and his backhander finds an opening.
6 for 19 in the postseason, in the playoffs for the Seattle Thunderbirds, including their first power play goal this evening.
Bear shovels it off on right wing to Polizar. Drops for Barzell. Wrist shot. He scores! Matthew Barzal, and just like that, we're tied at 2.
You think he wanted that one? That's his first goal of the final. He had 5 assists coming into tonight. That's his 6th postseason. And his first, like I said, of this series, and a real good job again, getting the puck to the middle of the ice. And he uses both defenders for the pass as screens, as there's no white jersey anywhere to be found in front of the blue paint, but good possession, good patience by Barzal. Head up the whole way, and he places the shot perfectly. What a start to game number 5. We're knotted at 2, 6 minutes in.
Back-to-back power play goals by the Thunderbirds. Answer the 2 quick ones by Mahura and DeWitt. Matthew Barzal, that's his first goal in last year's and this year's league championship final. He had 7 assists against Brandon. All is upended. Pat's penalty box not occupied. Wagner didn't miss by much. Boy, you need to catch your breath the way this game has started.
And by number 25,
Zabrowski clears it in on Stankowski.
powerful goals with his 601.
Jared Kiska up the middle, waiting with Steele to intercept for Nick Henry. Henry, a backhander, missed on the short side, and now Hobbs lets it go. Turned aside by Stankowski. Tapped ahead to Nolan Volkin, who had a big goal in game number 4 for Enser versus Hobbs, and Hobbs played it well as Liedall scoops it out to center. Case Harrison to Henry. He misses the puck on the right wing boards, and the Pats Hobbs will go back and regroup.
Well, we felt a lot of electric energy in this building. Over 6,000 people in here. We're chomping at the bit for the last game of the season from the Seattle Thunderbirds, and 4 goals in under 6 minutes to start this game. It has absolutely exploded in here energy-wise.
Mahura's 7th, DeWitt's 5th, and then 2 quick power play goals less than a minute apart. Donovan Niles, his 8th. Matthew Barzal with his first of this series. For Barzal, that is goal number 7 of the postseason as he extends his point-scoring streak in the playoffs to 15. Buziak to take the draw against Alexander True. Holmes down low. Strand intercepts. He had a pair of assists for the Thunderbirds in game 4. DeWitt, he already has a goal tonight. Buziak. Pats on the cycle, looking to regain the advantage. They scored both their goals 5-on-5. Harsh up the boards to Gropp, but pinching in is Mahura. And Strand with a tight turn against Buziak, wants to clear the zone and does for Wedman, who can't take it with him in the neutral ice area. True goes behind the net. The product of Copenhagen, Denmark. He has 7 goals in the last 2 league finals. He's scored in the last 3 games of this series. Block pass by Volkin, and Steele away from Enser. Sam Steele, 29 playoff points to lead all players. The Anaheim first rounder, crunched by Volkin. Moylinen to Enser, who chips it by Harrison. And Bear has it tapped away from him by Dawson Liedall. Offside, the call at the line.
Wow, I'll tell you what, you have a start like that from the visiting team, and they quiet the crowd right down. They take them out of it. That's exactly the start. Obviously, any team would want on the road, but what character and what resilience it shows from Seattle to get back on the board. A couple huge power play goals, and I'll tell you what, a tug of war. You learn so much about your people when both teams are pushing as hard as they are throughout the course of this game, you're going to learn about hockey players and the ones that want to win the most.
How many times have we seen this particular picture? Just an incredible job by our crew. And for the gentlemen in British Columbia who've done all the great work over the years, for many, the last game on Shaw, and we thank them for their wonderful efforts. Takes a lot to make a good TV show, and we have some of the finest here working at the ShoWare Center in game number 5.
When you're talking about teams on the ice, and there's certainly a team mentality off it as well. We had an opportunity as a crew to have a group picture, and that was an enjoyable photo moment for everybody involved in our crew. You get a look at the camera guys, and it was quite a sight for me to see all the people coming together, and you forget sometimes you don't even know how much it takes to put a product like this and a production like this on the ice. And it certainly has been a pleasure getting to know people here throughout the course of the playoffs, and great memories made.
Couldn't have said it better. Here's Slobozhin, his shot off of Hyman, wide of the target, all after it, and Barzal back defensively. Kolazar and Niles, who scored Seattle's first goal. Both of them coming by way of the man advantage. Barzal back to the line and Strand. His shot blocked in front. Kolazar twisting. He hit Barzal, wanted Niles, and that pass right through his feet. Battle in the corner. Reese Harsh from Grand Prairie, Alberta, to Niles, and chopped off his stick by the Steady Eddie type. My old pal Sam Cosentino would refer to in Chase Harrison. Here's Alexander True, wrist shot, Brown, a glove save. Well, just your run-of-the-mill beginning to game 5. 2-2. What will they do for an encore?
Welcome to Select Fluid Power, home of our brand new state-of-the-art cylinder repair and hard chrome plating facility. With a fully equipped hydraulic cylinder repair shop, Select Fluid Power is your one-stop cylinder repair shop. Open 7 days a week, serving Western Canada.
It's very hard to be different sometimes, but I would just like the world to know I can do everything that you can, maybe even better.
The Warrants has not only paid for Trinity's recreational limbs, they've also enabled Trinity to get that confidence in herself.
It's very important to believe in yourself. The Warrants helps me to run, jump, play.
All thanks to your support of the Key Tag service.
Before and after the game, Tony Roma's offers casual family dining. Tony Roma's, a family destination, legendary ribs, and famous for so much more.
With Thunderbirds head coach Steve Konowalchuk. And Steve, a wild one so far. How pleased with your team's resilience after letting in too early?
Well, it's good. I mean, there's no choice at this point. You got to keep going, keep working, and see what happens here.
Are you seeing the same determination level as Game 4? And what allowed you to create so many chances in Game 4?
Well, again, we just want to try as much as we can, skate, use our speed, push the pace there.
All right, thanks very much, Steve.
Thank you.
Guys,
neither team backed into this series, and neither team is backed into Game 5 as Regina exploded for 2 early goals, and momentum seemed to be in the favor of the Pats, but a response from Seattle on the power play with their first, and then 52 seconds later, Barzal gets his first goal of this final series, and that's where we stand after an explosive start to Game 5, knotted at 2.
Those 2 goals less than a minute apart. And Kevin, what I wanted to ask you, Seattle now on 3 occasions in this series, we saw the 3 goals late in period 1 of game number 4. We saw 3 quick goals in game number 2. How does Regina respond from those quick flurries?
Well, I think that they have to rely on their belief system. To me, that's what it's all about with Seattle. This is a team that believes they can score in bunches and nothing really gets them down. More of the same will be required from Regina to keep pushing back.
Barzal's 6th of the playoffs on the power play, tied it. Short time after Niles with his 8th. Mahura's 7th. Jeff DeWitt with his 5th gave Regina an early 2-0 lead. 3:17 in. Steal for Henry. Joining the play is Harrison. Taps it behind the net, and this is Ansor. Scott Enser from Englewood, Colorado for Sammy Moylinen and Volkin. Colorado, Sipu, Finland, and Edmonton on that line. Lead off. Rink wide, Regina changing as Hobbs wants to backhand it in. Slobosian will do just that. Aaron Hyman on the wing for Kolazar, who finds Niles with speed. Picked away by Brown. Tishka in deep. He has points now in 2 straight games. He scored in game number 4. Zabrowski, the outlet. Slobosian takes a bump as maybe, just maybe, things will settle down a little after that frenzied beginning. Philip Ball flips it high, and back for it goes the Calgary product, Austin Strand. Ryan Grubb. He collides with all goes to the ice. And Buziak in behind DeWitt as Strand to his partner Harsh, and he shoots it on Brown. True in on the forecheck, and here's DeWitt, who's already played more tonight than he did in the last couple of games and has made an impact. Back out with Buziak and Holmes. Generally, that's been Brian Lochner's spot, the youngster from Colorado, as Tyler Adams comes out of the pile with it for Groff, and he's got Harsh with him. Harsh loose in front, but Harrison an excellent defending play to break that up.
2-2, no whistle, 2-2.
Referee urging them to play on, as I'm sure you can hear. Finally, even the guys in the striped shirts had seen enough.
Well, a very different complexion of Game 5 from Game 4. Here we take a look at what happened 2 nights ago. Here was Regina again with a great start. Seattle gets on the board first, or pardon me, they respond after going down early, and then 19 seconds later, a 2-1 goal, and they ended late in the second period. They made it 3-1. That was all it took en route to a 6-1 huge statement win for the Seattle Thunderbirds. And I tell you, I'm really impressed with the response from Regina coming out here, and then we see pushback from Seattle. We've got the likings of a doozy here tonight.
Seattle has a 12-5 edge in shots. Interference, and this penalty, the first of the game to Seattle for interference.
We talk about how important face-offs can be, and I've really thought that Seattle did a real good job after the first 2 games in the series. They were dominated, down 33 to 67%, and we talk about being a 5-man unit to win a face-off, but there you can see the interference off of the face-off, and that'll be the call for Regina to be on the power play here. 7 minutes remaining in the first.
Sammy Moylinen, he's eligible for the upcoming National Hockey League draft.
Ranked 110 among the Central Scouting Service. An undersized guy, but boy does he work, and raised my eyebrows after Game 1. I think first shift in Game 1. He's a guy that works, but he is ferocious. He's physical, never turns down an opportunity to finish checks, and he's got 2 goals in his past 2 games.
After giving up back-to-back power play goals, the Pats enjoy a man advantage of their own, and they've been effective in this series on the power play. They're 6 for 17 as the officials want to put 1 second back on the clock, and they do. And still some concern as referee Critch on his way back to center ice, along with the linesman. Should never forget what an important opportunity it is for the gentlemen who officiate these games. This is a big deal.
Well, they build their way up through it just like the teams do as you perform, and you perform at a high level as a referee or a linesman. Onward and upward you go through out the depth of the playoffs, and they've done a great job.
Ethan Bear, excellent positioned up and Philip Ball, and allows a Thunderbird clear. 2-2 is the score in the game. It's the same in the series. And not what John Paddock's team wanted, an icing with the power play.
Perhaps a little bit jittery here as they're struggling maybe a little bit to regroup after a huge turn of events. You talk about momentum, you have it, you lose it, and it all happened in such a short amount of time, up 2-0, 3 minutes in. Next thing you know, it's 2-2, just over 5 minutes in. A little jumpy there as they rarely ice the puck with the extra man. We're talking about the league's best power play in the regular season. The Regina Pats firing away at 31.5%.
27.6% in the playoffs. Hobbs, a key member of the #1 power play unit, scored 14 of his 31 goals on the power play during the regular season. Steele in hot pursuit against Donovan Niles. Bear with a great outlet. Niles on a second opportunity clears the bouncing puck to Tyler Brown, and he won't waste any time. Good pass right up the ice to Leadall. Drops it for All. Oh, wrist shot. Stankowski took that high in the shoulder. And the Thunderbirds able to clear the zone with 57 to go on the Pats' first power play of the game. Wyatt Slobosian rims it. Back to Sergei Zborowski. Blocked by Volkin, and now Enser takes his time, and he'll send it wide of the net.
Oh, you got to be so clean, especially when you have guys like Enser and Volkin on the ice killing penalties. You give them a half a step, they're going to win most of the races to lose pucks, and Enser does just that.
Zborowski looking for his first point of this series, clears it in, and Reese Harsh clears it right back down to Brown, who looked a little uncomfortable. Slobosian, one last rush on this Pat power play, and here comes Wagner, Slobosian, but nobody's there as the Pats are changing their defense.
These are the moments in the games where you have to rely on your leadership and rely on the experiences that you've gone through in the regular season. I talked about it earlier in the first half of this power play. A little jumpy, a little hesitant. They're throwing pucks to areas where there's no support, and that is not something you see often from the Regina Pats. They're going to need their big guns here to settle things down.
So Seattle winning the special teams game, 2 for 2 on the power play, and they really didn't give Regina anything with their first power play chance. They don't even... One shot is what we have recorded on that power play. Here's Barzell, who tied the game on a power play. Heads to the net, looking for the pass. And Wedman delivered it, but out of reach of Barzell, who was upended, sent to the end boards. He's back on his feet. Tishka, Slobosian intercepts, and Wyatt Slobosian will clear it in. Stankowski, who just turned 17 on March the 9th, leaves it for Austin Strand. Ryland Toth was the #1 goalie all season long, but was injured, and Stankowski's gone the whole way. He's played every single second of the playoffs. Toth has been stopping shots during practice and in the morning, but has yet to even back up. Here comes Tyler Adams, who hails from Regina. His shot off the shin pad of Liam Scholler, and now Henry trying to get free. Nick Henry a wrist shot, and blocked it away by Stankowski. Buziak to Henry. Henry with 7 of his points in the series against Swift Current when the Pats rallied from down 3 games to 1. Now Zborowski wraparound try. Enser ties up Buziak as the Pats come close to regaining an advantage. Enser into the zone. And Sergei Zborowski from Moscow in Russia to Jonathan Smart, 17-year-old defenseman, his first shift of the game. Brown picks at it, and Holmes uses the glass to shoot it to center. Turner Ottenbright, who turned the series with that hellacious first game hit on Adam Brooks. Smart shoots it in deep. Stankowski can't corral it behind the cage. And Bear, the 5th round pick of the Edmonton Oilers, with another good play. Kolazar to Barzell with Niles. Barzell's wrist shot, gloved and held by Brown. Once again, back to Stu Walters.
Yes, thanks very much, Peter. Interesting from the coaching staff of the Regina Pats saying that they believe T-Birds goalie Carl Stankowski has been the hardest working T-Bird, and they want to keep it that way. Obviously not the tallest goalie in the world, and they're telling all their players to get to the front of the net, create traffic, force Stankowski to kind of bob and weave and move all around his crease, expend some energy. They do believe it's taking its toll, and they are sending bodies to the front again tonight.
14-2-2 with a 2.42 goals against average. Stankowski now the franchise leader, all-time franchise leader in postseason victories with 14. Hard to believe, isn't it?
It is hard to believe when you think about some of the terrific goalies that have played here, but it's the long runs that allow you to win that many playoff games. Seattle competing in their third ever league final, second in as many years. They fell to Brandon in last year's Ed Chenault Cup Championship affair, 4-1. It ended on a Friday night last year right here in this building. It won't end here tonight. Game 6 slated for Mother's Day evening in Regina. Barzell trying to cut in front, and Brown unable to hold it. Kolazar cuts to the front, wrist shot, and in the shooting lane is Liedall. On the topic of players who do a lot of little things that help you win games. Kolazar, back in he comes. Kolazar in front, Barzell and Brown broke it up, and now the Pats back in transition. Slobosian with Liedall and Mahura. Mahura wrist shot, sent it wide on the short side. Now Barzell turns at the end of a shift. Liedall tried to throw a hit. He was tripped up behind the play by Hyman.
Tried to throw a hit, a big hit against a pretty big player as well. He took no foot off the throttle trying to finish a check on Barzell at the end of the shift. 1 minute to go in a fast and furious opening period of Game 5. The winner will take a 3-2 lead. Wedman supporting the play is True, and Slobosian stays right with him before Hobbs flips it back into the Thunderbirds' territory. Pats with 2 early goals and then 2 back-to-back power play goals by Seattle, less than a minute apart to tie it. We had 6 goals, or make that 4 goals, in the first 6:01. None since. That might change. Boylenin blocked by Harrison. Ensor now. A great chance for Ottenbreit. And Brown with an enormous stop. Ensor again tries to toe drag it by Hobbs. Can't. Beer a drive, and that hit a body in front. Niles centers it, and the buzzer goes, and they're on their feet. And why wouldn't they be at the ShoWare Center? Well, an explosive start, and you're looking at 2 highly talented, highly motivated teams going toe-to-toe with one another. Down the ice, 200 feet battles, transition back the other way, shots to the net, quality chances, and oh boy, you couldn't ask for more. What a great start to Game 5. We're knotted at 2 after 1. I think we need to take a breather, Mr. Sawyer. That was a lot to deal with in 20 terrific minutes of hockey. Tyler Brown coming up large late to keep it. Tied at 2. And Stu Walters has a guess.
Yes, here with past defenseman Josh Mahura, of course, scoring the opening goal here on the power play, his 7th of the postseason. Josh, what a wild first period. How did you guys see it from your end?
Yeah, I mean, we got off to a good start there, and then they got a couple power plays and got going. So, I mean, it was a real back and forth period, and I mean, you have pushes from both teams, and that's what happens in playoffs.
Is that one of the great traits about your team? Is the even keel, not too high, not too low, allowing them back in this one?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously we didn't want that. To happen, but you know, we're going to keep going here and get ready for the second.
What was the message for you guys in terms of how to generate more chances in this game?
I mean, just get more shots. They've outshot us most times in the series so far. So just more pucks to the net and bodies to the net.
Can I ask you how beneficial it was to have a day away from the rink yesterday, sort of to decompress? How beneficial was that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the finals and it's tiring and stuff. So to get the day off yesterday was real nice.
I know the T-Birds obviously have a team with a lot of depth, but specifically the challenge of playing against Matthew Barzell, Keegan Kolazars of the world. How much do you relish that challenge, and what do you have to be most just aware of with those 2 out there?
Yeah, I mean, they're real good players. They're going to get their chances in the game. That's just how they're going to do it and stuff. So, I mean, just limiting their time and space and trying to keep the puck off their sticks is important.
Josh, thanks for this. Good luck the rest of the way.
All right, thank you.
All right, guys, first period intermission on its way. Andy Neal, Joey Kenward coming up. Game 5 of the WHL Championship Series.
Hi folks, it's me, Don Taylor, way up here with my friend Murph. At Levitt Machinery, they sell, lease, rent, and service all these machines, and they offer certified training. Need a lift? Stack it, reach it, lift it. Levitt.
No, Frank, don't carry it. Dribble it. Dribble it. Frank, dribble it. Frank, shoot.
Is this some kind of Canadian joke, sir? I mean, I know you're the instructor and everything, but we can't carry the ball. How can we get a decent shot at the peach basket?
All right. Maybe we can allow a carry of a couple of steps.
And Mr. Naismith, sir, it sure slows things down having to climb up here every time.
Well, then let's cut the bottom out of the basket.
Ah, but I need these baskets back.
100 years after James Naismith from Almont, Ontario invented it, basketball was being played by hundreds of millions of people around the world.
Tony Roma's, serving its signature ribs for 40 years. With an expanded menu including steaks, chicken, and seafood, Tony Roma's is a family dining destination. Tony Roma's, legendary for ribs, famous for so much more.
Bob Dale Gloves WHL Central is brought to you by Bob Dale Gloves. Found online at bobdalegloves.com.
Well, quite a wild opening period to Game 5 as these two teams look for the lead before we head to Regina for Game 6 of the WHL Championship, and a sold-out crowd at the ShoWare Center. Largest crowd for a T-Birds game since they moved here in 2009 from the Key Center. Welcome back to Bob Dale Gloves WHL Central alongside Joey Kenward. 4 straight games, Joey. Now Regina has opened the scoring, a 2-0 lead. But what a response from Seattle to tie it up.
Well, folks, if you haven't tuned in until now, you've missed an absolute firecracker of a start to game number 5. It's 2-2 through 20, and you mentioned an unbelievable start for Regina here on the road. Let's recap the scoring quickly. Josh Mahura, 65 seconds into the game, sees traffic in front of Karl Stankowski. That's his 7th of the playoffs. Jeff DeWitt, who didn't see a lot of action in the first 4 games of the series, snipes home his 5th of the year to make it 2-0. And then cue the comeback for the Thunderbirds. Donovan Niles on a rebound with his 8th. And then Matthew Barzal, one of the top scoring forwards in the history of the Seattle Thunderbirds, scores his first goal of this WHL Championship Series. Both of those T-Birds goals coming on the power play. And you talk about momentum shifts, forth and back, if you will, for both teams. I don't know if you can get any better in the first 20 minutes in a championship final.
Seattle now 7 for 20 on the man advantage so far in this series against Regina. We saw the celebration of Matt Barzal, his first goal in 4 games, first goal of the series as well. He's now got a point in 21, but do you think that's a monkey off the back for him?
Yeah, I would think so, although he's got the reputation over the last number of years as being the premier setup man in the Western Hockey League and arguably the most dynamic forward in the Canadian Hockey League. You still love to score, don't you? And that's, I think, a big sigh of relief for him. And in a situation where early on this building, and you could just tell they were ready to get going crazy, but then it was quieted with a 2-0 Pats lead. Barzal gets them back onto level terms and makes the final 40 pretty exciting to watch ahead.
Absolutely. And speaking of getting off a goalless drought, Ryan Gropp last night, a goal and an assist, a big evening for him in Game 4.
Yeah, and let's talk about the Kamloops native who is skating in his final game in this building as a 20-year-old and a very dynamic forward that the Thunderbirds have had over the last number of years. Had a great Western Conference final series, 3 goals and 3 assists he put up against the Kelowna Rockets to help his team get back to a 2nd straight WHL championship. And this was the goal you mentioned coming up here shortly after a beautiful redirect in the series against the Rockets. Grob had 3 assists going into game number 4. There's his first goal of the series. 4 points now to move here into game number 5. He's got 5 goals and 10 assists. He had 5 goals all of last postseason. So he's obviously feeling pretty good about himself, as are the rest of his T-Birds teammates.
He had a 6-game point streak, which was snapped in game 3, but got back on the score sheet in game 4 on Wednesday night.
Points in 12 of his 14 playoff games. For a guy that was desperate to get a goal, he's still been able to be one of the more consistent point producers for the T-Birds.
Ethan Bear has overtaken Connor Hobbs for the scoring lead among defensemen in the WHL playoffs.
Just a special defenseman to watch here in the Western Hockey League, and a kid out of Regina that has had a ton of people watching in his home province, both when they play in Regina and now here at the ShoWare Center, having a fantastic playoff. He's playing in his 49th WHL playoff game this evening. That was his opening goal of this series way back a week ago in Regina. Had a couple of assists in game number 4. Here setting up Nolan Volken, and then a power play point shot here that eventually would be put home, or an opportunity that was put home by Alexander True. Give now Bear 6 goals, 17 helpers in this postseason for the Thunderbirds. You mentioned that's putting him in top spot right now amongst blue liners in WHL playoff scoring. He's a treat to watch.
I was wondering when Reed Gardner would be overtaken as the scoring leader of the WHL playoffs, but Sam Steele did so last night with his goal to open things up in the scoring, but in a 6-1 loss. Sorry, that was Wednesday. But what about the leading scorer for Regina?
Well, you know he'll be fired up to get his team back into this game inside that locker room. Sam Steele has scored a couple of key goals in this series to propel Regina to victory, and now, as you mentioned, he's tops in league playoff scoring. Here's his opening goal in game number 4. He opened up the scoring as well in game number 2 that got Regina into the win column. But where this has all started for Sam Steele, this is back in his home, Sherwood Park, Alberta. He's on the left in that gray practice jersey. 11 years old. The Pats had a practice at his family's outdoor rink, and there he is in the right corner. He had not been anywhere close to a bantam draft. There was a connection between the organization and the team. They had a team outdoor skate in his family's outdoor rink, and this was this past winter when the team was traveling to northern Alberta. What an unbelievable story. You think about that, you're a young kid. You're watching these games right now, guys, you young teens, and you're wondering, can I get to the WHL one day? Well, this kid had a team skate in his own backyard. Then they drafted him in the first round of the WHL Bantam draft, and now here he is playing in a WHL final.
You know, I remember Troy Burke with the Prince George Cougars. When I was traveling with them, we stopped in Onaway, Alberta, small town just outside Edmonton. Huge deal when the Cougars came to town.
I remember working with the Vancouver Giants my first year. Their captain was Tyson Marsh from Quesnel, British Columbia, and the family had an outdoor rink. As we were making our way to PG for a road trip, stopped off, got all the gear off the bus, laced them up, outdoor rink, lights, Zamboni, you name it. It's one of those great stories from the Western Hockey.
Well, Tyler Brown got the hook in game 4 on Wednesday, but he faced 16 shots in that opening period and made a couple of big ones too to keep it a 2-2 tie.
Yeah, and I don't think you can really fault him on the 2 goals that he's given up tonight after his team had a 2-goal cushion in front of him. But the big thing that I've been impressed with Tyler Brown these playoffs is that whenever he has lost a game in regulation, he's bounced back in a big way. He obviously got the overtime win in game number 2 of this series to bring it here to Seattle tied at 1. Then he made 35 saves in what was probably his best ever performance as a Regina Pat puck stopper in game number 3. Brown has only lost 3 times in regulation in these postseason, and in his 2 previous starts after a regulation loss, 2 goals against in each of those games. 5 wins after a loss in the postseason. The only time he was suffering a loss after a defeat was that triple overtime marathon against the Swift Current Broncos. He's been pretty solid.
And there's the full page on Tyler Brown and what he has done through these playoffs.
He's just had a fantastic postseason for Regina, but you know full well that if the Pats want to get this game back in their control, the way Seattle was really turning it up offensively down the stretch of that first period, he's going to have to be a difference maker. He's come up with some good saves late in that first period to keep it on level terms, but I think he's going to see a lot more traffic and more rubber coming his way in period 2.
You know, we've touched on Josh Mahura and Jeff DeWitt, who were part of that big trade deadline blockbuster between the Pats and the Red Deer Rebels, potentially being involved in 3 straight Memorial Cups. But Austin Strand on defense for Seattle, he might get a shot at back-to-back if Seattle gets through, and his experience must be valuable for them.
Yeah, I'm sure he would have been a little frustrated when Jeff DeWitt got by him in that first period, spinning away off the boards to eventually score. A couple of former Red Deer teammates playing against each other now in a league final when they were teammates last year in the Memorial Cup. But Austin Strand, who's not been traditionally known as a point-producing defenseman, has chipped in offensively. He's got 3 assists in his last 3 games this series. Originally, that was credited as a goal in game number 2, but it was given to Tyler Adams. And then he wound up having a couple of more helpers in the big victory Wednesday, the 6-1 decision here on home ice. Strand's got 4 goals and 9 assists. 2 of his goals in the postseason have come on the power play. And for a guy last year that was playing on a Memorial Cup hosting team with just 2 goals and 3 points over a span of 3+ rounds, he's a guy that's actually been very, very valuable for Steve Konowalchuk's defense corps, and you know full well he'll be, like everybody else, expecting a pretty good pushback from the Regina crew coming into period 2.
And speaking of which, on the other side of the ledger, Connor Hobbs for Regina.
Just a treat to watch, like we talked about Ethan Bear on defense for Seattle. Connor Hobbs has really been the offensive juggernaut on the blue line for the Pats. Has already just been passed by Bear for the tops amongst defensive scorers. Game 3 had a power play goal to open up the scoring. That was the 3-2 victory that night. His first goal of this series was in the Game 1 loss. It was the equalizer which got that game to overtime. He's playing in his 22nd WHL playoff game this evening. He's got 6 goals and 16 helpers. 5 of his 6 goals have been power play markers, and a Washington Capitals prospect who has signed a contract has a very, very bright future ahead of him.
Joey Kenward inside the WHL will take a timeout through the first intermission in a 2-2 tie of Game 5 from the ShoWare Center in Kent on Shaw Access and this TV.
Join the movement. You have the power to give life. Donate blood today.
Levitt Machinery WHL Hockey is live on Shaw. Catch the NHL stars of tomorrow today. The road to WHL Championship glory ends here when the Regina Pats battle the Seattle Thunderbirds for the right to be crowned Ed Chanel Cup champions. For complete playoff broadcast information, visit shawtv.ca or whl.ca.
Hi, I'm Don Taylor here at Levitt Machinery, inviting you to watch Levitt Machinery's WHL on Shaw.
Welcome to Select Fluid Power, home of our brand new state-of-the-art cylinder repair and hard chrome plating facility. With a fully equipped hydraulic cylinder repair shop, Select Fluid Power is your one-stop cylinder repair shop. Open 7 days a week, serving Western Canada.
Well, Western Hockey League's huge. I mean, it's the route I took. I mean, they do a wonderful job, and we're here to, prove ourselves. I chose the WHL because it's one of the best leagues in the world.
Well, Connor McDavid's old team in the OHL is off to the Memorial Cup in Windsor. The Erie Otters, a 4-3 win over Mississauga in overtime. Taylor Radish had a hat-trick, and Anthony Cirelli in overtime, clinching the OHL title for the Otters. They joined the St. John Sea Dogs and the host Windsor Spitfires. The only spot left to determine is the WHL champs, Regina or Seattle. And WHL Chatters, a Beautiful Woman program, is a new initiative designed to recognize remarkable billet moms. 6 billet moms from across the WHL were recognized for their outstanding contributions. Visit WHL.ca to view their stories. Peter, Kevin, and Stu in the second period from Seattle here on Levitt Machinery. WHL on Shaw, Access and this TV after the break.
Bobdale Gloves WHL Central is brought to you by Bobdale Gloves. Found online at bobdalegloves.com.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. But for many, just getting hold of a stick is the hardest part. That's why I'm a proud member of the Horatio Alger Association of Canada. Through generous scholarships, the association gives hard-working young Canadians who have faced great adversity a shot at a higher education. Beginning this year, our scholarships will be available to students in financial need in every corner of Canada. To learn more, visit horatioalger.ca.
AJ lives for hockey and has ever since he was a baby.
Because I get to skate fast and score goals.
AJ was born missing his left arm right at the elbow. The War-Amps provides a hockey device. It attaches to his passive arm.
You just slide the stick in and just play hockey with it.
Having the prosthetics gives AJ the opportunity to do anything anybody else can do. The War-Amps support means everything to AJ, to other champs, and to their families.
Christmas Day, I'm gonna ask Steffi to marry me, and I'd really like your blessing. Yeah. No. But just give me a couple days to win you over. By Christmas morning, you're gonna be calling me son. I'm gonna be calling you dad.
Don't think that's gonna happen.
I think it's gonna, Dad.
I know it won't.
Dad, it will.
Stop that.
What, Dad?
That, stop that.
Dad, what are you talking about?
Yes, sir. Steph, you could be dating anyone. Why Laird?
He makes me really happy.
Teams starting to make their way back on the ice for the start of the second period here in Game 5 at the ShoWare Center in Ken, Washington. And Kevin, the first 6 minutes.
Where do you begin?
Exactly. So I'll let you go.
Well, the energy was at an all-time high, and I thought Regina did exactly what they needed to do to sponge the energy out of the building. And I really was impressed with the puck retrieval off of the forecheck. Separate the puck, they get it up high, and look at the net front traffic. A well-placed shot, that's Mahura's 7th, and Stankowski's sorting through the mess. He didn't see it, and that was the early first goal of the game. That took the energy out of the crowd, and if that didn't, this did. More puck retrieval off the forecheck. Good job by DeWitt. Off of the cycle, he gets the puck, builds a wall with his body, sheds the pressure. There's nowhere to put that puck except for exactly where he puts it. Stankowski post-sealed, but up over the shoulder, there's a bit of white. DeWitt hits it, 2-0 for the Regina Pats, and watch 19 White. He's got time and space. Harrison, 6 blue. He doesn't miss those assignments often, but he fades away, gives time and space to Niles. He gets his 7th of the postseason. And then again, I talked about this top line, moving the puck. 1-2, snappy plays that led to a lot of offense last game. And again, Colasar gets it from Bear. A quick pass up to Barzell, and how about that? 2-2, 6 minutes in. That's Barzell's first of this final round. And that's where we sit. What an explosive, entertaining first.
Yes, the sellout crowd loved it. Maybe not the first 3:22, but they certainly enjoyed the rest of it. Series like the game score, even at 2 apiece, with game number 6 set for the Brandt Center, a sold-out Brandt Center on Sunday evening. It's a 6 o'clock Saskatchewan start, which means 7 o'clock in Manitoba.
How about them? They sold out 3 hockey games before I could tie a shoe.
That is one of my favorites, my friend. It's Hobbs run over by Nolan Volkin, who literally launched himself into the 5th round pick of the Washington Capitals. Turner Ottenbright from Yorkton, Saskatchewan, to Scott Anser, who picked up an assist in period number 1 for Ethan Bear, as did he. Volkin, and Brown looked like he missed it, but it whistled wide. Hobbs takes a hit from Kolazar. Following the Game 3 loss, Steve Konowalchuk, the Thunderbirds head coach, really wanted his team to finish more checks, and I think we've seen a lot of that ever since.
Levitt Machinery's WHL on Shaw has been brought to you by Levitt Machinery, online at levittmachinery.com.
Well, to your point, Pete, we've seen hits throughout the series, 4 of them in this shift alone. And how about Vulcan? He's catching Hobbs off balance, and there was a bunch of hits in this shift alone. That's Vulcan catching Hobbs, and then later in the shift, Hobbs wants to return the favor. He says, I think I remember you, and lets them feel the 6'2", 210-pound frame of Hobbs. That's a big part of why this series has been so exciting as well, the physicality.
Hyman wrist shot. That goes off Slobosian. Hit him in the ankle as Barzell back out with Niles and Kolazar. Hyman, his shot. Confident save made. And here's Wagner. He'll flip it in and give chase. All first of the puck on the end boards, but Tishka knocks him off the puck. And Hyman, the former Calgary hitman for Kolazar. Mahura. Rink wide, Wagner, one touch to all with Slobosian, who has it now. Slobosian tried to manufacture his way into a scoring area, and Strand played him very well. Wagner flips it in, and the Pats make changes. 2:15 into period 2. Niles. This guy loves this time of the year. If the last 2 league finales are any indication, he was so effective against Brandon. The same way versus Regina. Adams into the slot area. Buziak had his man True covered, and this is Holmes who collected a first period assist with a goal getter, DeWitt and Buziak. DeWitt run over by Strand, who's getting better and better, I feel, as this series continues. DeWitt behind his back. Buziak off the outside of the net. Braden Buziak to Jeff DeWitt for Hobbs. Fans on a slap shot, and Gropp might get away. He's quick. Gropp racing in off the goalpost. Gropp hit the post, and then True stopped. Slashing will be the call, and is there going to be more than one penalty? And I'm not sure we're done yet.
Well, you won't see a slash with more of a wind-up than this from Scholler. And I'll tell you, I was so impressed with the speed, the takeaway speed from Ryan Gropp. Watch here. It's an even race at the blue line, and he just absolutely accelerates. There's the battle axe from Scholler. That's the initial penalty. That went off the iron, and then here's the follow-up as Hobbs tries to let that go, pardon me, off the turnover. There's the initial slash. What a shot. Off the inside of that iron and out. And it's going to be evened up as Scholler gets the initial slash. Seattle comes back. True, I believe he gets a slash in behind the play as well. It's 4-on-4.
A break for Regina in 2 ways. Gropp just missing by a fraction, and then the even up as Bear launches one. He'll do it again. That's a great stop. Brown is that. Hit Moylan in front as he drove to the front of the net.
Well, you're going to see the shot arrive, and watch the activity from Brown as he thinks that he has the puck, and that's why coaches, goaltender coaches tell you all the time, if you're not sure, less is more. Sit, lay back, but right here you can see he's got it covered. Then at the end of that clip, he moves, exposes the puck, and the whistle luckily blows.
Zabrowski, good reverse to Liedall. Liedall for Mahura, who scored the game's first goal. He'll shoot it, and Kowski. Huge hit. Is that Ottenbright again?
There are no easy minutes anywhere. You're going to see a huge hit from Ethan Bear. We always talk about Bear and his offensive ability, and it is second to none. 22 points. He now leads all D-men in scoring. Ethan does 13 of those on the power play. Watch defensively here as he's on the body. And man, oh man, does he ever throw it into the attacking forward. It's a double whammy as Ottenbright gets his man too. Physical both ways. And how about the skating Mahura here? Great stride, gets him the time and space to throw the puck on net initially.
Yeah, Bear finished his check, or attempted to, and it was Ottenbright who drilled Sam Steele into the end boards. Remember, Steele took a huge hit in the second period 2 nights ago in Game 4.
And that was from Ottenbright as well.
Shocking.
What a matchup.
Pass, Wagner got a piece of it. Here's Tishka, pursued by Slobozhin with help from Wagner. Hobbs kicked into the corner by Stankowski. Kolazar to Jarrett Tishka. Returns the favor, and now it's Hyman. Hyman makes his way to center ice. Wagner back on him. Couple of Calgary kids. Kolazar throwing his body around again, this time on Hobbs, who looks to jump up as Wagner fails to clear it by Ottenbright, and Harrison will make his way towards the Seattle zone. Carries in. Chase Harrison, he scored a key goal in Game 3, loses it. Back comes Barzal, and he's working against Hobbs and Liedall. Barzal behind his back, and Hobbs read it to break it up, and with some help from Liedall clears. Now here he comes, the 21-year-old from Saskatoon, tied in a knot by Kolazar. Barzal, Seattle with numbers as they hit the line. Barzal, Ottenbright, slap pass, and the other defenseman, Bear, had jumped up and he wasn't ready for it. Here's Steele. Carries in, Steele, a wrister, sent it wide. And the puck makes its way out of play. 5:18 into period number 2.
Well, let's look at the leading scorer regular season and playoffs. That was the opening goal on Wednesday night on the power play, but you talk about the price you have to pay to be an impactful player. Steele has paid it at the hands of Ottenbright often. We've seen a couple of hits tonight. There's the push from Bear last night. He went into the boards awkwardly, man. He didn't get up easily, and it looked to me like he may have had a stinger. And that's the price you pay if you want to be a difference maker in the postseason, and you know that Sam Steele is more than willing to pay it.
Matthew Wedman in his second straight league final to Tishka. Puck squirts loose, robbed by Brown, it's underneath him. And Brown with arguably his best stop of this evening.
You can certainly feel the presence of Ryan Gropp. I feel that his confidence has taken another level since he obviously got that big goal on the power play to open the scoring on Wednesday night. Look at him here again. Notice he gets the puck, quick release. There's no thought process, it's just instinctual. Puck to the net, that's what that line has been doing so effectively. And how about the save from Brown? He let in 6 goals on 24 shots in 2 periods in Game 4. Comes up with a huge save there to keep this game knotted at 2.
Ryan Gropp, who had a goal and an assist in the 6-1 triumph. I think he's been as impressive tonight as he has been in any game in this series.
He's given us some examples of what makes him so special, hasn't he? We saw that breakaway speed when he wrung it off the crossbar. He's got an unbelievable release, a great accurate shot. So many skills, so many tools.
Philip Hall tugged down to the ice. Play continues. Slobozhin all out there with Austin Wagner. Slobozhin with a little room to operate, cuts in front, shoots at the short side, and Regina looks like they've made contact with goaltender Stankowski, and thus Seattle 2 for 2 on the power play will operate for the 3rd time with 1.
Well, it's going to be Philip All, and one of the keys for sure for any team is to stay disciplined. And like you mentioned, Pete, 2 for 2 on the power play for Seattle. Regina won't be happy about it. These are one of the penalties to me where you don't have the puck and you go to the net. This is well within your control. You can see all there. To me, he doesn't make enough of an effort to stay away from Stankowski. Goaltender contact there, and that's the penalty. 2-minute power play here, 6 minutes into the second for the Seattle Thunderbirds.
Seattle 2 for 2 on the night. An impressive 7 for 20 in the series. Bear, Gropp, Barzal, Kolazar, and a blast from Bear, handled effectively by Brown, who's faced 21 shots as compared to the 11 at the other end, and now they've just put up another 22. So Seattle has doubled up the Regina total.
That last shot off of the heels of a good offensive face-off win by Alexander True.
Steele versus True. True wins it cleanly. Bear for Barzell, who tied the game on a power play. 6:01 into the first. Bear, Barzell takes it off his skates. Now it's Gropp. Ryan Gropp for Ethan Bear. Barzell, Bear, off the outside of the post. Seattle feeling it tonight with a manpower advantage. Bear, Gropp, wrist shot, sizzled it wide. Barzell to handle. Kolazar to Ethan Bear. Now the Islander first rounder. Bear in the shooting lane. Rebound. Great anticipation by Brown and kicked out the left pad. Barzell to the right point, and Bear wants Gropp. Has him. Returns it. Bear wants a lane. Barzell. Gropp. Zabrowski got a stick on it. Mahura wants a clear. Makes a quality outlet, and Zabrowski sends it down the ice.
That's the execution that Regina's looking for on their penalty kill. They're giving up the outside. The first couple shots found their way dangerously through. The last couple shots blocked and tipped.
Here's Henser. Leaves it, but leaves it for Slobozhin as he races the other way short-handed. Blocked by Tishkin, who shows off his best asset, his skating ability.
Regina 4 short-handed goals in the postseason.
3 of them courtesy of Wagner, who's on the ice.
Who had 5 in the regular season.
Niles off the stick. Tishka keeps it alive. Donovan Niles with Moyalinen and Enser. Tishka in the shooting lane is Harrison. Wagner, does he have a step? Trying to cut in front, he does! And shot it wide, and then he was drilled by Strand. And Wagner, who's playing at less than 100%, we believe he has some kind of shoulder type issue, is down on all fours. His terrific therapist, Greg Mayer, races out to attend to him.
Well, Wagner plays this exactly how he plays every rush to the net. He gets a step on defenders, and not easy to do against the smooth skating Tishka, but Strand steps into the picture, meets him at the junction, and you can see the lumber gets Wagner up high, perhaps, and as crazy as this sounds, that's the good news, because we know how much pain that Wagner's been playing through with his shoulder. It seems like he's gone off a few times throughout the course of this series. Catering to that shoulder, he takes it up high. Was he cut? We'll see if it's 2 or 4, but a great courageous play by Wagner to take the puck to the front of the net.
Paying the price, signed this season by the Los Angeles Kings, a 4th round pick in the 2015 National Hockey League draft. And if you are tuning in for the first time, we've remarked on it many a time, and for good reason. One of the fastest players I think we've seen in recent memory in this league.
What's so impressive for me is, yes, speed, unbelievable speed, but when he has the puck on his stick, Pete, he still wins his races. He's good with it, fast without it, and with it.
The Pats, who have just killed off a Seattle power play chance, have their second of the evening. Pats led the game in the first 3.5 minutes, 2-0, only to have Seattle come back with back-to-back power play goals. 6:01 in. Those goals were less than a minute apart. Steele on the Regina power play has 29 points to lead all playoff participants. This is Mahura through the seam, Steele! And a near miss for the visitors.
Good puck movement and execution by the Pats as they're working away at their second power play of this game. And no big surprise, I suppose, that Mahura will look to their trigger man, Sam Steele, who, like Peter, you mentioned, leads all players in the postseason with 29 points coming into tonight. Mahura, again, the smooth skater, makes a great pass through the seam and a great one-time shot opportunity from Sam Steele.
And Mahura opened the scoring with his 7th of the postseason and has points in 4 straight games. The Anaheim 3rd rounder. Steele waved out of the circle. Another win for True. And a clear.
Nice job in the face-off circle from Seattle. We saw the good job in the O-zone on their power play, defensively on their penalty kill, winning face-offs as well.
Mahura zips it to Liedall. Dawson Liedall. Mahura finds Hobbs. He can shoot it. Does. Blockered away and off the stick of Niles and out.
Second in the postseason in power play points among D-men is Hobbs with 5 goals and 13 points. Nice shot by him.
Here's Mahura again. You can see the confidence growing in his offensive game. To Hobbs, behind his back, Liedall, toe drag, he scores! Dawson Liedall on the power play, and the Pats back in front.
What patience, what poise on the toe drag from Liedall, who has 3 assists coming into the game tonight in this series. That's his 12th of the postseason and 24th point. And watch when Liedall gets the puck. 35 goals regular season leads to this kind of patience. How about that? Represents shot, pulls it, changes his release point, and how about where he places that puck into the top corner? That's a huge power play goal for the Regina Pats as they now lead, approaching the halfway point of the second period, 3-2.
The 21-year-old from Saskatoon to the top shelf. And the Pats in front again. Mahura and Hobbs should draw the assists, and they do at 9:37. So multi-point games for those 2 defensemen. Regina back on the next shift, looking for more. And good to see Wagner out there again. Harrison off of Stankowski. To the loose puck is Wagner as he twists and turns. Wagner, wrist shot. Oh, there was room on the far side, but it just went wide of the net. Another penalty upcoming as referee Vetter calls tripping, and Seattle will find themselves shorthanded. Dawson Liedall's 12th of the postseason has Regina in front in Game 5.
And our winner tonight will get to ride the Zamboni during the second intermission of tonight's game. So hop up on your feet and shake that tail feather.
Before and after the game, Tony Roma's offers casual family dining. Tony Roma's, a family destination, legendary ribs, and famous for so much more.
Welcome to Select Fluid Power, home of our brand new state-of-the-art cylinder repair and hard chrome plating facility. With a fully equipped hydraulic cylinder repair shop, Select Fluid Power is your one-stop cylinder repair shop. Open 7 days a week, serving Western Canada.
Hi folks, Don Taylor here. Need a lift? At Levin Machinery, they sell, rent, lease, and service machinery for your material handling needs. And they offer certified training. Stack it, reach it, lift it, Levin.
Team's road effort in this roller coaster affair so far.
Well, we had a great start, obviously. Their power play, which is so dangerous, got them back in it. It's sort of been back and forth now. We're happy to have the lead.
Tyler Brown's been very busy. Are you pleased with how sharp he's been?
Yeah, I thought he was going to be sharp tonight after the last game, and, you know, we're going to depend on him a lot.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Guys.
Well, Regina with 21 power play goals in the postseason. They were 1 for 2 tonight, and these are the tough ones for me. It's the ones that are well within your control. That's 30 feet away from the puck in this non-factor play, where this is one where Colasar, who leads the postseason penalty minutes with 35 coming into tonight, 15 minors, that'll make it 16. And again, the ones, there's certain penalties that you take that you just rely on your team to kill for you. That's one of them where you're kind of hoping that they kill it.
Pats with 3 goals on 14 shots and have just taken the lead with their last power play chance. Have another. Steele, Liedall, the most recent goal getter, back out with all Mahura and Hobbs. Steele protects it. Mahura down low, his pass too hot to handle for Liedall. Ottenbright off the glass, kept alive. Mahura, Hobbs, good kick save by Stankowski. Liedall crunch, all without a stick, kicks at it, and cleared by Bear the length of the ice.
Good second effort by Nolan Volkin as he gets bumped to the ice by All, pops right back up, creates the loose puck, clears it 200 feet.
Good backhand pass by Steele for Liedall. True blows a tire. Hobbs for Mahura. Goal and an assist already. Hobbs with a couple of helpers. To Sam Steele. Traffic in front. Hobbs tipped in front. And there's an important stop by Carl Stankowski.
Crisp. Crisp is the word that comes to mind as these guys are snapping the puck around well. What skill, and they're showing it here. The puck isn't sitting still for very long. Watch Steele get it up top. There's the shot, but how about the save through traffic? We've seen Stankowski let a couple in game 3. 2 in on the ice. 5-hole. He sealed it there. No rebound. Real good save by the kid who was screened.
1:04 still remaining is John Paddock and David Strush and Brad Haroff send out the likes of Slobozhin Henry, who's taken down. Wagner, Hobbs, and Mahura remain out to quarterback it. This is also a spot where we'd see a lot of Adam Brooks.
Another face-off win, Pete, for Seattle. They were 64% in the first period. They've won a lot of face-offs, a lot of really important face-offs.
Pats come away with it. Slobozhin testing Stankowski on the short side. And the youngster from Calgary able to make the save and hang on.
Another good opportunity for the Regina Pats off of a battle into the corner. There's the entry from Henry. The puck stops. And this is one to me that you have to win if you're Seattle. 2 versus 3. The puck pops loose and a good transition from Slobozhin, who gets the puck to the net.
Wyatt Slobozhin has saved some of his best work in the playoffs for key games, like Game 6 against Swift Current, a goal in 3 for a 4-point game when they ended up forcing a Game 7 and winning it. And then in the clincher of round 3 versus Lethbridge, Slobozhin had a goal and 2 assists for 3 points. This is Wagner as his first point of this series. An assist in the first period, and he takes a healthy run at Ottenbright. Mahura kept it in. Bear, a second chance to clear and makes no mistake with it.
Really nice job by Josh Mahura offensively. We talk about that detail from him all the time, but in this shift alone, a couple of real key keep-ins, keeping the puck alive in the ozone.
He's from St. Albert. Mahura versus the opposition number 5, Tishka. Seattle kills off the Regina power play. DeWitt takes a bite out of Niles. Out of the box is Kolazar. The Columbus third rounder looks to center it. Barzell wheeling and dealing. Barzell protects it. Strand looks at Kolazar. He'll shoot it. Deflects wide of the target. Liedall unable to clear the zone. Kolazar right in the chest, and that was ripped by Kolazar. And Brown with a key stop as it remains 3-2 in Game 5. Series tied at 2. Now it's Niles who has the goal in the game. Zabrowski regains control of his stick to Reese Harsh. He'll elect to slide it for Moylinen. Sammy Moylinen stops on a dime. Watched by Zabrowski. Back to Hyman. Wrist shot. Tim Brown save. Can he cover it? No, he can't. Barzell now. He's been out there a long time. Still twisting and intercepted by Steele, who takes away a passing lane as Brian Lochner, I think that's his first shift, sends it in and heads off. Oh, this is some kind of Game 5 and plenty to go. Volkin steams in. Back pass. Intercepting is the plus-minus king this year in the league, Zabrowski, but he's unable to clear. With a second chance. Fails as well. Tishka to Strand. Good stutter step. Strand forced back by Buziak. Wrist shot. That goes wide off the stick of Volkin. And as Tishka backs up, Lochner has a chance to move it. But now Enser comes in the other direction. Enser! Brown just squeezed it. That's like when you're down to that last little bit of ketchup and you just squeeze it out.
But when Seattle pours it on, they pour it on, don't they? As you see Lochner, he didn't get off the ice very easily, the 16-year-old. But look at the big hit on him. He's a big body too, Lochner, but Volkin, as he's done throughout the course of the playoffs, throws everything to every shift that he has, and that led to this. Enser gets a good quality shot on net. Brown, who looked shaky on a couple shots earlier in the shift, makes no mistake about the rebound from that one.
Quick shout out to David Roberts, our fabulous producer. His parents, 2 nights ago, celebrated, listen to this, their 59th anniversary. Congratulations. My goodness. All carries in, all off the outside of the net. Wagner there in support. Austin Wagner, 14 postseason goals, looking for his first in the series. Slobosian has it blocked by Hyman. Slobosian stays with it, intercepted by Barzell. Long lead pass just off the stick of Kolazar.
Nice job in anticipation defensively from Mahura. Kolazar was looking to slip in behind. Mahura makes sure that he has D-side body-wise.
Pats have to clear the zone. 5 minutes remaining in the second period. 2-2, 6:01 in. And Dawson Leadall's 12th of the playoffs on the power play. The lone goal so far of the second. Kolazar intercepted by Steele for Leadall. And Nicholas Henry. That Caroms in front is Leadall in a tug-of-war in front with Bear, who has a point in every game in this series. From Ochapowace. Bear, who missed 3 games with an injured hand that he's still dealing with in the Western Conference Final versus Kelowna.
22 points in the playoffs. Bears tallying at 1.46 points per game.
Enser intercepts DeWitt's pass, but failed to make the connection with Adams. And Zborowski, the 3rd-round pick of the Rangers in 25, at least in 2015. We don't need to get to 2025 quite yet. I can wait. So can he. He's got some work to do.
Mr. Positivity. How about the job our crew does downstairs? Is that the right picture for this graphic or what?
Isn't that a beautiful thing?
Couldn't be happier to be plus 72 in the regular season, plus 23 in the postseason. How about his career? 237 games played, plus 35. I guess that's good reason to smile, wouldn't it be?
After the icing, Zborowski catching his breath, and John Paddock feels like it was important enough to use his timeout. Stu's right there.
Yeah, thanks very much, Pete. Just want to let you know, Brian Lochner taking that devastating hit on the left shift, came off the ice there and had his right knee looked at. Also the right hip area by the trainer. He's looking a little bit better, but has been hunched over at the bench for about the last 2 minutes or so. So we'll see how he goes the rest of this period.
21 games in the postseason, 4 points. Lochner last year played for the U16 Thunderbirds in Colorado. He was a state champion, a 3rd-round pick from the Regina Pats.
There's Lochner right in the middle of your screen trying to shake it off. He has a bright future in the league. He's just 16 years of age. Has 1 playoff goal. It came in the opening game of round 1 versus the Calgary Hitmen in what was a sweep for the Pats. We're in round 4, the most important round of them all. Wrist shot goes off a couple of bodies, right back to Niles. Strand. Niles into the corner for Barzell with big Kolazar in front. Hobbs and Barzell. Barzell knocked down, and Hobbs intercepts the pass. And I'm not going to repeat on television what Barzell just said to the referee, but that's all in the heat of the battle. That's what makes this sport beautiful. The intensity with so much on the line. Kolazar to Barzell, chips it back. 2-on-1 develops. Kolazar, he scores! Keegan Kolazar has tied it, and the Pats will end up short-handed after it.
Well, when you look at the details that are put into this goal coming to fruition, wow, I don't even know where to start, but it's a quick little give and go in the defensive zone. Watch the puck come up to Colasar. He pops it to the middle, and Barzal gives it right back. And how about this? No fancy stuff. Get the puck, shoot the puck, and then you can see right at the tail end of this Colasar, man, does he rip this to the top corner, and then the push from behind from Wagner onto Niles. There's the penalty called after the fact. There's the shot, there's the goal, there's the penalty. Ooh, that was dangerous looking. And after a huge goal to tie this at 3, Seattle will enjoy a 2-minute power play.
Austin Wagner in the penalty box. Colasar has his 11th of the playoffs and his second in as many games in this series. And we're even again, this time at 3.
There's another look at the penalty, and oh my goodness. Niles gets pushed in from behind. His shoulder takes the posts off their moorings. And a key time in the game here after Seattle evens this score.
Insert carries in on the power play. Good to see Niles remain in the game. He has a goal tonight, and Liedall, as does he. Regina sprints away 3-on-2 shorthanded. The entry for Steele bounces off a couple of skates, and now Tishka takes care of it. Because Barzal's group was out, second unit out there, Moylanen batted out of midair, and Brown recovers to rob Austin Strand. He can't believe it.
Nothing left to do but smile from Strand as he makes a bid to get his 5th of the postseason. And there's saves that you make technically, there's saves that you make positionally, and then there's saves that you make desperately. And there's the positional save, and there's the desperate one. What a great job by Brown, athletically diving to take away that seam. You can see Strand has injected himself up into the play. There's the desperation, and what a great save by Brown to keep this knotted up at 3.
As they play, everybody clap your hands. Why wouldn't you with this show? Seattle looking for the 3rd power play goal of the evening. They're 2 out of 3. Working on number 4. Colasar, Barzal, Bear, drop, true to the front. Barzal, he scores! Second of the night for Matthew Barzal, and the Thunderbirds back in front.
Second of the night. 4 power play goals in the postseason, and that's Barzal's 7th. And how about the execution from him again? This is a guy that is shoot second and pass first, but boy, has he let a couple of rippers go tonight. And then we've seen it all along where they're usually looking to hit Bear up for the trigger man. He's got everybody, all the blue jerseys, pulled to the middle of the ice. He buys the lane for Barzal by bringing his body to the other side of the ice. Barzal one-times into that far corner. And what a sequence of events here as Seattle ties it up. They get a power play off of the goal that makes it 3-3, and they convert halfway through this power play to make it 4-3, and the crowd back on their feet.
Second of the night, 3rd point of the game for Matthew Barzal. And as was the case in the first period, Seattle with 2 goals again, less than a minute apart. This time, 57 seconds. Adams wants more. Drop. That goes off the outside of the net. This is something else. Scholler. Drop keeps it in with Adams and True. Scholler, good body position on Adams and makes the outlet to Holmes, and now DeWitt. Jeff DeWitt has a goal. Fans on a pass attempt. Wanted Buziak, couldn't find him. And Tishka back for it. Bears second of the assist of the game, and draw the helpers on the Barzal goal. Second of the night, 7th of the playoffs. Seattle 3 for 4 on the power play. Enser leaves it for Ottenbright. Shovels it towards Volkin. Volkin comes off the boards with it. Back to Ottenbright. Slap pass for Bear. Intercepted, cleared to the boards by Harrison. We're into the final minute of period 2 in game 5. Series tied at 2, a 4-3 Seattle advantage. There's only one spot on the dance card left for next week's Memorial Cup in Windsor. And it's the winner of this series, Enser, wrap around, put it right through the crease. Colazard, a bear, fakes the shot. Leadall stays with him. Volkan now, time winding down, fans on a pass. And Leadall, I guarantee you, just wants an exit. Finds one as Henry sends it in. Pats led 3-2. 2 goals 57 seconds apart in the late stages of the frame have Seattle in front. Now maybe a last crack for all. Got a step, goes to the backhand. Slobosian on the wraparound. As the buzzer brings an end to another wonderful display of junior hockey.
Seattle, out of any team that I've seen throughout the course of this year, has a bully mentality. There's the last rush from all. That's at the buzzer. Look how close this comes to being an opportunity. Kolesar puts a stick on it to keep that away from being a dangerous late period goal from all. There's the initial shot. And look at the stick from Kolesar again. Good stick on puck to keep that out of a dangerous area. But against Seattle, they are a bully mentality where they sense weakness. They pounce on you. They've scored in rashes. 3 goals in 56 seconds, 2 goals in 19 seconds. Tonight, 2 goals in under a minute. Wow. What skill, what power.
Well, the gentleman leading the way for Seattle is with our Stu Walters.
Thank you very much, Peter. With Thunderbirds captain Matthew Barzal, 2 goals and 3 assists in a wild game so far. And Matthew, what a roller coaster it has been. How fun is this one to be playing in?
Yeah, it's pretty back and forth right now. Obviously, you know, like our response from our team when we got down there 2 times, and you know, last 7-8 minutes of that period, I thought we played really strong, and you know, we need to play like that in the third.
You said response. What was the feeling on the bench when you guys went down 2-0 early first?
You know, Steve and our leaders were just saying basically, you know, we still got what 55 minutes left, and that's a lot of hockey. We got a lot of guys in this team that can put the puck in the net. So just stay calm. And you know, we just knew we had to get back to playing our game.
Coach was very pleased with your determination and battle level in Game 4. Do you feel that you've at least matched that and maybe surpassed that so far?
I think so. I think the whole game's kind of been more intense. You know, it's funny once you get to these playoffs, it's like, you know, Game 2 was big, but then Game 3 is even bigger. You know, every game is so much bigger than the next one, and that's what makes it fun.
Largest crowd in T-Birds history at the ShoWare Center. How easy is it to feed off of these guys?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty electric when we first came out. It was, you know, a heck of an atmosphere. So they've been great all game, and we're going to need them in the third.
I just want to ask one quick one. Steve Konowalchuk was telling us that when he takes you in for a video session, he has to be careful to watch that before he sees it with you because you're so smart. What kind of compliment is that for you?
I mean, you know, me and Steve are pretty similar in how competitive we are and the details. So I like to watch a lot of videos. So when I go in there, you know, half the clips he's already shown me. If it's a bad clip, I kind of already know that I made a mistake. So it's pretty funny sometimes.
Matthew, thanks for your time. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
There you go, Matthew Barzal, 2 goals, 1 assist already tonight. 25 points for the Thunderbirds in this playoff round. He is also playing his 48th playoff game as well. WHL Championship Series Game 5, second intermission coming up next.
And he can lift anything at all. He's that strong.
Joe Schuster, will you stop it or you'll miss your train? Now help me find number 5.
Strong, but by day he's a mild-mannered reporter. Glasses, you know, a secret identity.
Honestly, you Canadian kids.
He'd be in this cape.
A what?
A cape, wearing these blue tights.
A hero in tights, really. Here it is.
Listen, Lois, this guy is faster than anything, I swear.
If you're not fast, you're gonna miss your train.
That's it. A bullet. He's faster. No, he's faster than a speeding bullet.
Come on, get on it. No one's gonna read a comic strip about a strong man in tights, Joe. It'll never fly.
Fly, no. But he can leap over tall buildings. Oh, wow, yeah.
See what your cousin Frank says in Toronto.
Wait, Lois. I've got something for you. Take it. It's a gift. You never know. It might be worth something someday. Is he great or what? Bye-bye, Lois.
Christmas Day, I'm gonna ask Steffi to marry me. And and I'd really like your blessing. Yeah. No. Look, just give me a couple days to win you over. By Christmas morning, you're going to be calling me son. I'm going to be calling you dad.
Don't think that's gonna happen.
I think it's gonna, Dad.
I know it won't.
Dad, it will.
Stop that.
What, Dad?
That, stop that.
Dad, what are you talking about?
Yes, sir, Bob.
Steph, you could be dating anyone. Why Laird?
He makes me really happy.
Bobdale Gloves WHL Central is brought to you by Bobdale Gloves. Found online at bobdalegloves.com.
Well, Dawson Leadall scored his first goal in 6 games to give Regina the lead again, but then Keegan Kolazar and Matthew Barzell's second of the night, second power play goal, 2, and Seattle's got a 4-3 lead through 40 minutes of play in their final home game of the regular season. They've won 34-45 here at the ShoWare Center and trying to make it 35 wins before we head to Regina for Game 6 on Sunday. Back at Bobdale Gloves, WHL Central, alongside Joey Kenward and the 2 big gunners for Seattle. And boy, Regina and their leads in this series have been awfully difficult to hold on to, and tonight another example of that.
And a quick reset for you in case you didn't catch it right off the top. You missed a doozy opening 20 minutes. Regina up 2-0, then it's 2-2 going into period 2. Here's a couple of interesting turning points in that middle period. Keegan Kolazar of the Thunderbirds winds up taking a penalty here that puts Regina on their second man advantage of the night. That would eventually lead to Leadall scoring, but then Kolazar back onto the ice 5-on-5, gets redemption with his 11th goal of the playoffs, and then on another power play opportunity, Seattle was able to strike with their 3rd goal on the man advantage, and that was Matthew Barzell's 2nd goal of this night, 2nd goal of this series, and now he's got 7 goals in the postseason. And for all of these Thunderbird players who are playing their final home game of the playoffs tonight, there's a number of them that are likely going to play their final ever home game with this franchise as Western Hockey League players tonight. Kolazar and Barzell are among that group, and they're doing everything in their power to this point to give the overcapacity crowd something to cheer about.
You know, we went into Game 4 raving about Regina's power play that was red hot, but all of a sudden it's Seattle's power play that is taking control.
Red hot. 3 already tonight, 2 in game number 4, really changing the complexion of this series. The only thing that we have not seen through 4 games and 40 minutes of action has been a short-handed goal. And both teams are very capable of finding the back of the net if they're down a skater. Although there haven't been many great opportunities when teams have had man advantages in this series, I wonder if we're not that far away from seeing the other side of the special teams coin be brought to the forefront here. But you're right, Andy. Seattle's power play and their top weapons have been deadly here in the 3 games of this series in this building, and that's a big talking point as this series will eventually shift to Regina for Game 6 on Sunday night.
Seattle's got 8 power play goals now in this series. Regina's got 7 after Dawson Leadall's goal. That's a big goal for Dawson because he's been doing everything else except scoring until that second period.
First goal of the series for Dawson Leadall, and for a player that we talked about when we came down here to Kent, Washington, saw a childhood dream come true, signing his name on the dotted line to an NHL contract with the New York Rangers, and why not? He's had an unbelievable overage campaign here for the Pats. You know, came in a trade last summer from the Everett Silvertips and kind of got a new lease on life. And there was a lot of people wondering around junior hockey circles if he might even be destined to finish off playing major junior hockey. There were a few different options that were presented to him, but you can tell that the ideal fit for him, he's now 21 years old, the Saskatchewan native, back close to home, has been a huge threat offensively for his team, not just in the regular season. He finished in the top 15 in WHL scoring, but he was able as well to just carry that right on in the playoffs. And then you're right, even though they're down a goal in this hockey game, that was a big goal against the run of play. Remember, before that, it was a 2-2 hockey game. There's a couple of posts that were hit by the Thunderbirds. Ethan Bear had one opportunity, if I'm not mistaken. Turner Ottenbright had another chance that went off the post. And you're right, a big goal for Leadall. And you wonder what might be going through the Pats players' heads in that intermission right now if they didn't find themselves down by 1.
Austin Wagner got his first point of this series as well, and it's amazing to watch him. He took that big hit from Austin Strand in the second period, driving to the net. He gets back onto the ice and throws a hit of his own. But to be playing, I'm sure, in what's got to be excruciating pain at times has really been heroic for me.
Yeah, very much so, and we've chronicled it throughout this series, home and away. He's obviously playing through a lot of pain, and as Peter alluded to, that's playoff hockey, and it's amazing to see these athletes just dig deep and be able to put it all out on the line. And we were both watching from our perch up here in the press box. How much ice time was Wagner getting late in the first period? And I thought, okay, we're going to keep a real close watch on him for period 2. Obviously, that intermission break did him wonders because he came out flying.
Was wondering when Jeff DeWitt scored, it was a beautiful shot, but Carl Stankowski was down on his knees, and because he's 5'9", he's giving up a lot of net, and Philip Hall almost got him too when he was down on his knees in the first period. But is that something that scares scouts? Is that kind of the prime example when it comes to goaltenders and size? Because so many times goalies that are listed 6'4", 6'3", 6'5".
Yeah, traditionally now when you see goaltenders picked into the National Hockey League draft, which is just around the corner at the end of June in Chicago, any goalie that's getting picked is minimum 6'1", 6'2" at the very least. And Carl Stankowski obviously doesn't have that going for him. However, what he does have going for him as a puck stopper is compete level and a real high octane level of emotion, being able to control it. Sometimes that's difficult for a goaltender in raucous buildings like we have here in Seattle, or like we had to open up the series in Regina. Remember his performance in game number 1? You think about this, fans. You're a first-year goalie in major junior hockey. You're going into a league championship, having been unbelievable 12-2 in the playoffs prior to a league championship, and he goes in and stones the Pats, giving up just 1 goal to earn an overtime victory. He's been very, very good through the majority of the postseason here for Seattle. And one other thing that a lot of people might not think about right now in the heat of battle, he, I will guarantee you, is on Hockey Canada's radar to be one of their go-to goaltenders. At least he's definitely put himself in the conversation for Hockey Canada for the upcoming Iva Halinka Under-18 Championships in the off-season. So he has done very well tonight, and I'm sure Regina's going to throw the kitchen sink at him in the final 20 trying to find the equalizer.
NHL draft coming up in June. This is a big couple of weeks for players that are still going. There aren't many now with St. John going through and also Erie Otters winning. So these are the only 2 from the Western League, but the scouting combines coming up. How big is this next couple of weeks for those players getting ready?
It's huge. It really is huge, because the combine, which occurs after the Memorial Cup in Buffalo, will bring the top draft eligible prospects from North America and Europe all under one roof. They'll go through a variety of physical fitness testing, plus they'll also be interviewed by NHL scouts who see them, but also it's the first chance for a lot of NHL executives, general managers, assistant GMs, to meet them face to face, put them through the ringer, if you will, with some tough questions and answers. Now, there will be some unbelievable WHL flavor at the combine. They haven't put out their official list of which prospects will be going, but when you look at the NHL Central Scouting final ranking list of North American skaters, you're definitely going to see these players go to the combine. Nolan Patrick, who is a consensus #1 overall favorite from the Brandon Wheat Kings, will lead this list. Michael Rasmussen from the Tri-City Americans and Cody Glass from the Portland Winterhawks. Juuso Välimäki also from Kennewick, Washington. Callan Foote. Those are all players that many expect to be top 10 to top 20 picks this year. Then at the bottom of the list, you see players that are playing in the league final, and 2 of the 4 will definitely go with their teams to the Memorial Cup. Nick Henry and Jake Lecision, although he's hurt, are expected to go to the combine at the end of this month. Jared Tishka and Sami Moilainen from the Thunderbirds would also be on that list to go through the fitness testing and through the interview process. So congratulations to all of those WHLers who will get that much closer to hearing their names called out at the NHL draft.
Well, we're through 2 periods of play here in Kent, Washington, and now it's absolutely Seattle with a 1-goal lead. It's their first of the night as they try to take a 3-2 series lead, as do Regina, here on Levitt Machinery, WHL on Shaw, Access, and This TV.
Levitt Machinery WHL Hockey is live on Shaw. Catch the NHL stars of tomorrow today. The road to WHL Championship glory ends here when the Regina Pats battle the Seattle Thunderbirds for the right to be crowned Ed Chanel Cup champions. For complete playoff broadcast information, visit shawtv.ca or whl.ca.
Hi, I'm Don Taylor here at Levitt Machinery, inviting you to watch Levitt Machinery's WHL on Shaw.
Before and after the game, Tony Roma's offers casual family dining. Tony Roma's, a family destination, legendary ribs, and famous for so much more.
Christmas Day, I'm gonna ask Steffi to marry me, and I'd really like your blessing. Yeah. No. Look, just give me a couple days to win you over. By Christmas morning, you're gonna be calling me son. I'm gonna be calling you dad.
Don't think that's gonna happen.
I think it's gonna, Dad.
I know it won't.
Dad, it will.
Stop that.
What, Dad?
That, stop that.
Dad, what are you talking about?
Yes, sir, rebound.
Steph, you could be dating anyone. Why Laird?
He makes me really happy.
Got me into a pro camp after 17 and draft after 18, and you don't see that, I don't think, if I would have been in junior A. I have almost 130 games, and I think with 4 years, even in the NCAA, you're not going to get that much, so it's been great for me.
Who is Bert?
My role model.
I'm just an ordinary citizen.
I can't tell Jenna what it's like to live with an artificial leg, but Bert can. Bert can say, I understand. Bert has taught her plenty about Canada's military heritage. He has also taught her about being an amputee and about being a good person. He lays a wreath every year for the War Amps.
We have a bond, and to have her with me up there laying the wreath, it means quite a bit.
How do you thank a hero?
City crowd here at the ShoWare Center in Kent, Washington. They are having a good time tonight and leading 4-3. The Thunderbirds are. Matt Barzell's 6th and 7th of the playoffs scored this evening. He had gone 4 games without a goal, but his 7th right now is the difference maker in tonight's game as Seattle tries to take a 3-2 series lead. They've outscored Regina now in the second period of this championship series 9-3, but in the third periods, Regina's outscored Seattle 2-0. So that is what's in store with the final 20 minutes of regulation still to come. Welcome back to Bobdale Gloves, WHL Central. These are the last 2 teams trying to book their spots at the MasterCard Memorial Cup that starts a week from tonight in Windsor, Ontario. The QMJHL Championship wrapped up on Wednesday. The OHL Championship saw Game 5 of its series tonight in Erie, and the home team had won 3 of 4. Erie had a 3-1 lead. Mississauga jumped out in that contest to a 2-0 lead, but Erie roared back. Taylor Radish with a hat trick, and then Anthony Sorelli, the overtime hero and the championship winner for the Otters as they win the championship, a 4-3 win in Game 5. So they join the St. John Sea Dogs and the Windsor Spitfires. 3/4 of the combatants of the MasterCard Memorial Cup are now set, just waiting for either Regina or Seattle to join them. And the WHL's Player of the Month from the Kelowna Rockets. What a playoffs he had. Not up until Wednesday, he was the WHL playoff scoring leader with 28 points, 15 goals, 13 assists for Reed Gardner. And in the month, 13 goals in 12 games. He was absolutely terrific in his longest run in his WHL career in the Western Hockey League. Player of the Month of April. Well, third period is on the way here from Seattle. Over to Peter and Kevin.
Thank you very much. Is the song fashioned by Journey, and this series has been quite a journey. Don't stop believing. It's easy to believe this has been one gem of a hockey game, and the home side with a 1-goal advantage as we get set for the third.
Well, we saw so many details, so many great plays, and one thing that I noticed with this top line with Seattle is when they held the puck and when Barzell had it, I think his teammates struggle to know where to go, where to be. But when they keep it simple, they pass the puck, they shoot the puck, good things happen. It's that simplicity that's led to them leading this game 4-3 in my mind. And there's another example of it. Good shot to the net, rebound, they've got bodies, net front, and in response to that, how about that delay, that toe drag by Lidl? That's his 12th of the postseason. And how about the face-offs? Out of 20 face-offs in the second period, Seattle won 15 of them. They didn't lose a specialty teams face-off, whether it was on the power play or the penalty kill. And here's the 3-3 goal. good little give and go from Barzell back to Colasar. Again, simplicity. Get the puck, shoot the puck. Boy, did he shoot that. That was the evening at 3-3. They drew a penalty on the play, and then on the power play, Barzell moving the puck. Normally it's that number 25 that's looking to shoot it, but he gives a great pass to Barzell, number 13, who gets his second of the night, his second power play of the night. And that's where we stand at 4-3 here, leading into the third.
Matthew Barzell, 2 goals and an assist to lead the way. Seattle 3 for 4 on the power play. And 4-3 the score as Nick Henry shoots it on target to start this third period. Pivotal game number 5 in a series tied at 2, heading back for a Sunday night date at the Brandt Center in Regina. Which team will be in a position to capture the Ed Chenoweth Cup? Sam Steele in his own territory backhands it for Dawson Leadall. He has his 12th of the playoffs tonight. Henry takes down Hyman. Puck remains free. Henry kicks it for Slobozhin. Wyatt Slobozhin, watched by the opposition 13, that's Barzell. Right back to Philip All. All drops it. The shot off the stick of Zabrowski, stopped by Stankowski.
Levitt Machinery is a proud sponsor of WHL on Shaw. Need a lift? Stack it. Reach it. Lift it. Levitt.
A nice start to the third period, much like we saw from Regina in the first. Good job getting the puck low, a little reverse from All. And a good quality shot on net for Carl Stankowski, who's allowed 3 on 19 shots tonight, but he's been tested with some of those quality shots. He's been good with the saves, and I thought he's back on track with his rebound control again tonight.
Kolazar with that big goal that tied it. He has a goal and an assist, 5 points in the last 2 games of this series. All pressured by the aforementioned one from Winnipeg, Keegan Kolazar. Slobozhin has a man open, it's Wagner. Austin Wagner, robbed by Stankowski.
Well, you talk about starting periods. Well, Regina certainly does that, but one guy that they need to be on the score sheet for sure is the second leading in goals here in the playoffs, Austin Wagner. He's got 14. He hasn't got a goal or a point in this series. He finds himself on an in-tight breakaway, and how about the save again from Stankowski? He's saved a couple breakaways in these postseasons, and he injects energy with a huge save on Wagner.
His most critical of the night. Wagner did chalk up an assist on the game's first goal, but it's his only one of the series. As Holmes plays it in behind the net, and Reese Harsh takes over. Drop. Slides it for Wedman. Alexander True. Down low for Wedman, the Edmonton product. Matthew Wedman. He's knocked down on his knees, intercepted by Hobbs, who has a pair of assists, and back comes DeWitt, who scored Regina's second goal as they jumped into a 2-0 lead, 3:22 into the opening period. But Seattle, who has scored quick goals in succession in this series, scored 2 less than a minute apart on the power play in the first, and then trailing 3-2 in the second, scored 2 goals 57 seconds apart. The wraparound, they score! And Seattle has a 2-goal advantage.
Well, the details inside the details. After last game's 6-1 loss, this line for the Regina Pats had a tough one. They were -3. Nick Henry was -4 on the play, and you will watch the engagement or the lack thereof. Watch 21 Blues. He's into the battle, and he's out of it. You got to stay into the mix and be on the defensive side of your man right there. Seattle wants the puck more. That's the bottom line. They retrieve the puck. They beat their man to the net, and Volkin comes up with a huge goal. This is a tough one. This is the bump-up shift after Wagner gets stopped on the breakaway. It could have been 4-4. Rather now it's 5-3.
Volkin, second of the series, looking for more as he just failed to connect with Boylanen, who just set him up seconds ago. Bear sheds the checking of lead, all loses it in the neutral zone. And Stankowski not taking any chances.
You talk about building momentum. You see, you get a look at Henry there. We talked about him in our open, 35 goals, regular season, 81 points. This is a true talent. Rookie of the year in the Manitoba Junior Hockey League last year. 50 games played with the Portage La Prairie Terriers. 61 points. He hasn't found his stride. I mentioned in the open again, 10 points in his first 10 games in the playoffs. He's only had 2 in his last 10 coming into tonight. And you get the sense here Seattle only gets better as this series and every game grows.
Vulcan, who did not record a point following game 1 of the Kelowna series until he scored in game number 4 2 nights ago, has his second in as many games, 2:21 in, and Seattle for the first time in the game leads by a pair. Trying to take a 3-2 advantage in this best-of-7 Ed Chenoweth Cup Championship affair. Wagner on target, Stankowski a juggle, but Hyman is there to clear away the loose puck. Barzell feathers it beautifully to Kolesar. Seattle changing. Kolesar waiting for reinforcements. Takes a big hit from Scholler. True keeps it alive. Kolesar with a big frame protects it. Kolesar to the middle in front. Fabulous chance for Strand. They score! Ryan Groff. And it's 6-3.
Well, they just keep coming at you, don't they? Ryan Groff with his second goal of the series and second in 2 nights. Initially, this is an unbelievably good save by Brown. I think it was a save anyway. He was tested, and it looked to me like he got his body in the lane. But as Seattle does, they just don't go away. There's the pass from Kolesar to Strand, and there's the save. And look at the desperation. We've talked about it time in and time out with Tyler Brown. And he gets here a little bit late as Kolesar initially passes the puck. There's the save from Strand, but as the shift continues on, the puck carries over to the far side, and it was a quick release. Brown wasn't set. And we find ourselves now Seattle up by 3 with a score of 6-3.
And again, quick strikes. This time, 2 goals, a minute and 34 apart from Vulcan and Groff. And what had been a seesaw affair back and forth. The Thunderbirds riding a wave up by 3 and answer once more. And Brown keeps Regina in it with that save. All Thunderbirds lead all, who gave Regina a 3-2 lead in the second on the power play, but the Thunderbirds have responded with 4 unanswered. Barzell has 2 of them. He's intercepted in the neutral zone. Knocked down, plays it as far as the line, and it comes free to Hall. Hall a shot. Stankowski makes the save.
Well, after the second period, Seattle outshot Regina 14-8. They outchanced them 12-5. They won 15 of 20 faceoffs. And here, Regina actually outshooting Seattle in the third 5-4. The problem? Seattle's outscored them 2-0.
How big is the save off Austin Wagner on the breakaway? A short time before the Vulcan goal that could have tied the game at 4.
Makes the game 4-4 at that point. A shift later, they find themselves down 5-3.
And then a minute 34 after, Groff with his second in as many games. Another multi-point game for the Kamloops product. And the difference is 3. Wagner involved with Hyman.
We talk about Wagner being involved, and he certainly has been 14 times to be precise in the postseason, and this is his chance, this swing moment in the series. We're 4-3 down, Regina Pats. There's the breakaway save, and here are the numbers throughout the course of this journey through the playoffs. Round 1, he had 3 goals, 7 goals and 2 assists. Round 2, he had 8 goals in 7 games coming into this series. He's been absolutely on fire in 5 games. You know he's playing hurt. He's played with speed. He's played with courage. Sitting on 1 point in the 5th game of this final round.
And when you look at that production in the series, you might think there haven't been a lot of chances. He's had a ton of them. He just can't find the back of the net all of a sudden. Stankowski certainly deserves credit for that. Regina looking to turn the tide. Harsh to drop. And Hobbs steamrolls drop. Now a break for Holmes as he busts in. Holmes to the backhand, and Stankowski stayed with him. Hobbs a shot. Stankowski kicked that out too. Now the youngsters making a difference. Good to see drop bounce up. That might have been the equal, almost, that Ottenbright dished out in game 1. The only difference is drop was a little more expecting.
He bounced up because he got hit so hard to the ice. I don't think he had a choice. What a huge hit, a step-up hit from Connor Hobbs on DeGrob. He gets up quickly, and that translated to 2 chances for Seattle.
But again, Stankowski shuts the door. Off of Brown, the glass, and out of play.
My correction, 2 chances for Regina, of course, and we're going to see the initial hit first. There's the pass from Harsh to Groppen. Speaking of Harsh, that's a harsh hit from Connor Hobbs on DeGroppen. Later in that sequence, it led to that chance from Robbie Holmes. He's not able to convert on a partial breakaway. And then the shot. How about Stankowski standing tall? He's been turning away saves, and important saves at important times. And another look at that hit from Hobbs. That had Ottenbright memories of game 1 written all over.
Certainly not quite as hellacious by any stretch. Not comparable, but that Ottenbright hit number 1, I think that one's number 2.
I'm with you, buddy.
Kolazar to Barzell! That got a piece of the iron. Kolazar and Barzell have combined for 6 points. Here's Wagner again, racing into the zone. Here's Barzell, 2 goals and an assist, a penalty on the way to Regina. And remember, Seattle has built this lead thanks in part to 3 power play goals.
Well, what a great opportunity for Barzell as he rings one off the bar. Watch how quickly he gets the puck. His release is as quick as a sneeze. That thing is off of his stick in a flash. And then we see the penalty there. Pardon me, this is the chance again. There's the pass. How about the release? Quick shot. Off of the bar. Gazoon tight.
So as John Paddock, the executive and coach of the year in the Western Hockey League, looks on. Seattle with a chance to potentially throw a Game 5 knockout punch if they haven't already. 3 for 4 on the power play already. Barzell, the Bear, moves to the middle for Gropp, who has a 3rd period goal. Into the slot, flashes through, another opportunity, nice check by Hobbs. Through, drop, Kolazar now to the front is dropped, fans on a pass.
We talked about the face-offs in the 2nd period, 75%, 15 to 20 for Seattle. They didn't lose a specialty teams face-off. That's a huge detail. Another ozone face-off on the power play. Thunderbirds winning.
Drop. Wanted True, has it back, good stick by Steele. Kolazar into the corner for Matt Barzell. For Ryan Gropp beneath and Bear. Traffic in front. Off a stick wide. Bear snaps a stick. Barzell, as he heard the cries for a second. 4-on-4. Barzell looking for the hat trick. And it's deflected out of play.
Another one of those adjustments that you see throughout the course of a series. I'm not sure that I've seen Matt Barzell shoot the puck nearly as much as he has in this series, but particularly tonight. He's got the 2 power play goals, and I think it's to a fault at times where he's so good with the puck and he's so unselfish with it. He wants to set up guys around him. Defending teams know it. They're looking to take away passes, and I think Barzal has exposed Regina a little bit here tonight, where he's a threat to pass it, and obviously now a threat to shoot it as well with 2 power play goals on the evening.
Second multi-goal game of the playoffs. Moynihan with a big assist in this period on the 5-3 goal by Volkan Fand and Strand. He is a helper. He has 3 assists in his last 2 games. Leaves it for Tishka. Jared Tishka from Langley, British Columbia. The answer in front. Volkan after it. Strand stopped by Brown. And here comes Wagner. Chips and chases again. But he runs out of real estate and crushed by Moynihan, who packs a punch for a guy about 5'9", 180. Wagner versus Hyman. A wrist shot. Stankowski takes care of it. This game's right on the verge, too, Kevin, of getting out of hand a little bit.
Well, it certainly is, and every moment where Regina finds himself pushing them back into it. Look at the way that Tishka loses a step, but he does a real mature thing, and he just beats this player back to that post, and there's that physical finish that you're talking about it from Moynihan. He's just on the body. Boy, I'll tell you what, Wagner has paid the price. What impresses me most about him is he takes the puck to the net. When you have that kind of speed, you have to have the courage to finish it up with your toes going to the blue paint. Go to the net, you know you're going to get hit. You know you're going to pay a price. He's hurt, and he has not shied away one time from taking the puck to the area that's most dangerous.
2 early third period goals have the Thunderbirds in the driver's seat in their 40th year of existence, looking for their first ever league championship. Second straight appearance. Fell in 5 games to the Brandon Wheat Kings last spring. As Groff takes another hit from Hobbs to clear the zone. Adams leaning on his man and steals it. Tyler Adams misses Donovan Niles and Henry for Jonathan Smart. Cleared in by Holmes. They'll wave off the icing as Bear first to it on the retrieval quickly. Rolling puck, Kolazar quickly dropped to Barzal. And Niles shoots it into the corner. Kolazar first to it. Barzal, steal, and chipped out by Nick Henry. Leadall tries to relay it in. Now he'll carry it. One steal. Final home game of the year for the Thunderbirds, and their fans are enjoying it. Kolazar looking to add to the enjoyment. Good play by Zabrowski in front to take care of Scott Enser. Leadall for Wagner. Austin Wagner swings it for Slobosian. Slobosian finds All off the bench. Enser is there. Slobosian back to All behind the net. Philip All on the wraparound. He'll spin. Paddled down by Stankowski. Regina with some pressure. Smart hits Wagner. He'll shoot it. The rolling puck goes wide. Jonathan Smart off his skate. Wagner, he scores! Don't go away quite yet. Hit a body in front, and the Pats back to within a couple.
Well, there's been a couple of moments throughout the course of the second period where you felt like they almost had to score. It was a moment where they had to convert, and I thought that this shift here was one of those, and it was one of the only shifts here in the last 5 or 6 minutes for the Regina Pats where they had quality pressure and quality chances. I thought Seattle doing a good job blocking shots, but after a while, you know, eventually one's going to get through, and there's the point, and there's the one that Regina has been waiting for. The 14-goal scorer coming into tonight wires one to the top corner. Stankowski, he doesn't see it through that mosh pit of bodies, and we've got a 2-goal hockey game at 8:38 left in this third period, pardon me.
Wait for the announcement. Slobozhin was there, and I thought it went off one of the two guys in front. They'll credit to Wagner, his 15th of the playoffs and his first of this series. At 11:22 from Smart, his first point of the series, and Slobozhin, and now it's Niles. Harrison chops it up the boards to Henry. So Wagner's 15th has Regina within a pair. An answer at the end of a shift. He always looks so exhausted every time he leaves the ice.
Well, he should, because he leaves it all on the ice. What a worker.
Harrison being chased literally by Groff. Lead all. Knocked down out of midair by Bear, and cruising in behind him was Steele, who has it now. The Western Hockey League Player of the Year, Sam Steele. Turner Ottenbright. Game 6 slated for the Brandt Center in Regina, Sunday at 6 Saskatchewan time. I'm not sure I'm even going to attempt the rest. I know that's 5 in Pacific.
You know we were waiting for it.
I know it's 7 o'clock in Manitoba, and it's 6 in the Mountain Time Zone. Volkin's from that zone, Groff's from the Pacific Time Zone, and back to a guy from Calgary at 6'4".
Tony Roman's, serving its signature ribs for 40 years. With an expanded menu including steaks, chicken, and seafood, Tony Roman's is a family dining destination. Tony Roman's, legendary for ribs, famous for so much more.
Hey.
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 Hey. Hey, hey, hey.
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 Hey, looks like you have time. Take a 2-minute test and find out your risk of getting type 2 diabetes.
Hi folks, it's me, Don Taylor, way up here with my friend Murph. At Levitt Machinery, they sell, lease, rent, and service all these machines, and they offer certified training. Need a lift? Stack it, reach it, lift it. Levitt.
In the Western Hockey League, we shot this game right out of a cannon with 4 goals in the first 6 minutes of the first period. It was Regina that started the scoring from a goal from Mahura. It was good first 5 minutes. It was an excellent start from the Pats as Mahura gets the shot from the point, and that wasn't enough as DeWitt gets his 5th of the postseason. An early 2-0 lead for Regina, but like we've seen throughout the course of this postseason, Seattle, they're not going away. They make it 2-1, and with this goal, his first of 2 on the night from Barzal, makes it 2-2, and that's the thing that stands out for me. Regina up 3-2. Seattle doesn't go away. They've simplified. They're putting more pucks to the net. They're out shooting their opponent heavily at times, and on we go. That miss by Wagner that could have made it 4-4. A goal after that makes it 5-3. Puck to the net, and that's a huge one for them. That's his first of the series. That gets him within 2, and that's key for me. A 3-goal lead is much different than a 2-goal lead going into the last dying minutes of a game. Huge goal by Wagner. They needed to see him get onto the board. We'll see if that sparks Regina's offense.
Very nicely done. I don't remember a 10-goal pack for quite some time.
A lot to talk about there.
Thought that was going to take us on our car ride all the way to Vancouver tomorrow. Moyalinen with a key assist on what right now would stand as the winner by Volkin. Wrap around, answer right through the crease. This line has been so good the last 2 games. And sometimes, to be honest, they're hard to distinguish from this location because they all play the same. They all kind of look the same. All about the same size.
Same size, same style, same work ethic. I agree with you. I wouldn't want to play against that line. Not easy.
And here's another example of just how valuable they can be. We think Stu Walters is very valuable. Stu?
Thank you, Pete. Someone has to out there. Both coaches have been warned by the referees, guys. They came over when it was 6-3, when they maybe thought it was a little bit more out of hand, and said, we don't want any post-whistle scrums, no post-whistle involvement or cheap shots, no message sending for potential stuff going on in Game 6. Now, that's when it was 6-3. It is now, of course, 6-4, so maybe the Pats make it a little bit more closer, and the discipline has to stay there. But at 6-3, they thought it was getting a little bit chippy out there, and warnings were issued.
The Pats have outshot the Thunderbirds in this period. 12-6, Barzal in front. Kulazar set up, and he sent the wrister wide. And now Wagner. Wonder if he'll gain some momentum from scoring his first goal of the series. Slobosian, as Regina tries to cut it to 1. Tishka broke it up. Slobosian stays with it. Niles sends it by Hobbs, 2-on-1. Kulazar, Barzal. Barzal, Kulazar, sent it wide. Now the Pats in transition. It's Hobbs, stays up, goes to the ice. It's underneath him, and Barzal carries away 2 goals and an assist for the 2-time member of Canada's World Junior team. Tyler Adams to Groff, who has a goal and an assist. Plays it behind his back. Mahura has a goal and an assist as well. And here he comes, the smooth skating defenseman. Gets to center and shoots it in. As the Let's Go T-Birds chant arises. So does Groff. Wrist shot. Brown handled it. Groff showing off that great acceleration again.
What an interesting race that is between the smooth skating Mahura, like you mentioned, and the explosive stride from Groff.
Under 5 to go in regulation. Seattle trying to move within 1 win of their first ever Memorial Cup appearance. Regina will head home. They'd like to make their way to the Memorial Cup for the first time since 1980. They'll host the tournament next year. Wrist shot by Henry, kicked out by Stankowski. Steele and Moylinnen. Steele wins it, now he'll cut to the net. Steele backhander, draw by Stankowski again.
Ice in his veins. Saves are one thing, key saves are another thing, but key saves in key times, this kid just never disappoints. Again, we're in a 2-goal hockey game with under 5 minutes left. If this goes in from the leading goal scorer, point getter in the regular season and the playoffs, we got a 1-goal hockey game. The 16-year-old goaltender Stankowski again comes up with a huge save to preserve a 2-goal lead for his team.
Has now officially, according to the score clock, turned aside 27 of 31. He's been busy in the third. Steele tried to cut the gap to 1 again. Played right in the crease. Hyman with help from Barzal. Barzal has it roll off his stick. Breakneck all night long in the pace department. Do we have more dramatics left? Slobosian. Fans on a wrist shot, but he'll stay with it. Slobosian. Ooh, Stankowski took a peek behind him, but he has it.
How about Stankowski? He has turned away a penalty shot against Steele, 2 breakaways against Steele, and a breakaway against Wagner that we saw minutes ago. And then here's another save on a quick wraparound from Slobosian. A good shot. Tries to go up over the shoulder of Stankowski, who's square to the task.
The Regina net is empty. Trailing by 2 with 3:48 to go in regulation time. Hope you're enjoying it. I know we are. Mahura will get to it first. Regina with an extra attacker. Steele, Wagner, all, lead all. Hobbs, Mahura on the ice. Chance for Wagner from a sharp angle. Now he backhands it in front. Bolton can't clear. Hobbs tipped in front. Went off Wagner, but it went wide. Pats pressing lead all. to All. He controls it. Philip All off of Steele. Hobbs relays it. Funny hop and a carom is All. Wrists it well wide of the short side. Mahura. Ottenbright jumped to get out of the way. Steele against Enser. This is a great battle, and we've seen a lot of it. Mahura waiting. Moylannon down, but he still blocked it anyhow. Mahura through the seam. Steele. Hobbs. Loose in front. On their feet. For the young man from Calgary, Stankowski.
2:43 remaining in the third period, 6-4. Regina has their net empty, and they've got their key players absolutely gassed. The one thing that they don't have is their timeout in their pocket as they used it mid-second period. Paddock is forced to make a change, and you can bet, first opportunity, these guys will get a breather at the bench, and they'll be right back out to the task.
John would probably like a quick whistle.
No doubt about that. 20 seconds, whistle. Switch him back up.
All kinds of pressure, but they can't beat Stankowski the last few minutes. Regina all of a sudden up to 35 shots. Kolazar with an empty net. 2-goal lead. He might take a crack, but Hobbs plays goalie. Never question the effort from Connor Hobbs. There would never be a reason to. So emotionally invested is number 44. Holmes to Slobosian. DeWitt in front. This is Hobbs again. He and Mahura did remain on the ice. The forwards changed. Mahura, nice poise. To Henry. Tipped in front. Stankowski, another save. Holmes whacks at it. Still loose. To Hobbs. Comes out. Under 2 to go. Pat's looking to change. And Zabrowski on the ice. Rips it back in. Stankowski touches it. It'll allow Strand to find Barzell. Content to backhand it down the ice, and this should be icing. No, they waved it. Mahura might have been better to take a little more time to get to it. Steele, 1:20 to go. Regina needs 2. Wagner. All. Mahura. Blocked by Moylannon, and it hurdles. They're going to blow the roof off this joint if Seattle hangs on. They still have work to do. Drop after a loose puck. He backhands it down the ice. This will be icing.
What a gutsy effort by the Warrior Moylannon in the defensive zone. How do you win championships? Well, that might have something to do with it. Look at him as he pays the price. Hemmed in the defensive zone. Seattle ices it. And they are hanging on here with a 2-goal lead. Nice job by Moylannon.
Now, unlike the NHL, where you can't change when you ice the puck, in the Western League, the rule is if it comes from behind center ice, you can't. Or at least if it comes from behind your own line, you can. If it's in the neutral zone, you can't. So they could. And into the bench. And now Hobbs. Now this is where you have to really be careful.
Well, you talked about him being emotionally invested, and I couldn't agree more. This is a guy that has tons of passion, tons of emotion. The key is to control it. You can see Ottenbright taunting, and there was a pop fly in front of the bench of the Thunderbirds. Hobbs heard or had something happen to him. He wasn't very happy with that. Little hook from Barzell might have had something to do with it.
I'm glad you're with me on the airplane in the middle of the two teams. They might need you, partner.
Yeah, not a whole lot of friends being made out there, is there?
No, there sure isn't. And nor should there be. Seattle 35 seconds away from taking a 3-2 lead. Still time. Kolazar. Out it goes. That's quite a play by Hobbs in the neutral zone. my goodness. Lead all. Stankowski with another save.
Well, earlier when Kolasar had the puck on his stick and he shoots for the open net, Hobbs comes up with a huge save, and then watching the neutral zone as Hobbs goes, looks to me like he's going to swat at it. Are you kidding me? Presence of mind to get back to his feet, maintain puck possession, to give his team another chance to get a quality shot on net.
The Pats have 20 third period shots, but Stankowski is only allowed 1 goal. Remember, by hockey terms, he's 16. We haven't seen a 16-year-old goaltender lead their team to a league title since Dan Blackburn did so with a Kootenay Ice back in the year 2000. Back to the line, Mahura. Volkin with a shot blocked.
When you look at examples and things you need to do to advance in the playoffs, my goodness, are there ever a lot of things going the right way for Seattle. And they're hemmed in their zone, and give credit, full marks to Regina as they've got the net empty and they've had puck possession. But man, are the Thunderbirds making it difficult to get quality opportunities from the middle of the ice. Blocking shots, tipping shots, laying it on the line. We saw it earlier from Moylan.
Ottenbright.
Had he made that shot in intermission, he might have won himself a car. That was right in the middle of the net. So patiently, casually gets the puck on his stick after another face-off win. We've seen that tonight, haven't we, from the Seattle Thunderbirds? I believe it was Alexander True in the defensive zone. Ottenbright gets his third of the postseason with an empty netter, and it's a 7-4 victory with 1.8 seconds left.
0.6 to go. Are they going to shut it down?
They should.
Now they're still pointing to check and see as Ottenbright has his second of the series into an empty net. And Seattle, in their final home game of the season, have sent this place into delirium many times. And quick strikes are beginning to be a real large story of this series.
It's a killer mentality. They've got the skill to back it up, and you're right. When Seattle has smelt blood throughout the course of this series, man, have they packed on the goals in succession. 1, 2, and 3 under a minute we've seen.
All we need to do, drop the puck. 2.2 to go. To the fans of the Thunderbirds, the stage is yours to say thank you. For the first time in team history, the Seattle Thunderbirds are 1 win away from the Western Hockey League title. But in what has been a fantastic series, we still have a chapter or maybe 2 left for these two great combatants to write.
Well, you're looking at a team in 36 regular season games here in the ShoWare Center. They've won 27, 8-0-1 in front of these fans who came out in numbers tonight to cheer on their team for their very last time of this season, as this series will head back on a charter flight tomorrow to Regina for Game 6 on Sunday.
And I know the Pats fans, 64-84 strong, will welcome home their team with the same kind of response. It's led by Matthew Barzell. The Thunderbirds salute this raucous sellout crowd.
A classy move by the Thunderbirds to first wait for the Pats to leave. They're out of sight. The doors close. and then they let their fans know how much they've appreciated them coming out to support them, and their fans are letting them, the T-Birds, know how much they've appreciated them winning 27 of 36 and going one win away from advancing to the MasterCard Memorial Cup.
Smiles all around. And Carl Stankowski was huge in the third. He faced 20 shots and allowed only one, as Regina did everything they could to close the gap. And the Calgary kid wouldn't allow it. Our post-game show coming your way next. Seattle 7, Regina 4, the Thunderbirds are one win away.
Before and after the game, Tony Roma's offers casual family dining. Tony Roma's, a family destination, legendary ribs, and famous for so much more.
With the scholarship program that WHL produces for us players is huge, and it helps us just kind of not worry about the money aspect of it, but just focus on the school and your hockey, and makes it a lot easier on a student for sure.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. But for many, just getting hold of a stick is the hardest part. That's why I'm a proud member of the Horatio Alger Association of Canada. Through generous scholarships, the association gives hard-working young Canadians who have faced great adversity a shot at a higher education. Beginning this year, our scholarships will be available to students in financial need in every corner of Canada. To learn more, visit horatioalger.ca.
Hey, Mr. Ricky.
Boys, I want you to meet someone. Outstanding athlete, the former second lieutenant in the United States Army, and your new second baseman, Jackie Robinson.
Hi, gentlemen.
Et maintenant, va tomber Royaux. And now batting for the Royals, le deuxième but, the second baseman, Jackie Robinson. Quatrième manche, fourth inning.
Record numbers of cheering Montrealers helped Jackie Robinson break baseball's color bar that year. He never forgot the city that launched his journey to baseball's Hall of Fame.
Well, the fans here in Kent at the ShoWare Center going home happy tonight, seeing their team for the final time, a 7-4 win in Game 5 of the championship. And one of the heroes was Matt Barzell, who's with Stu Walter. Stu.
Yeah, thank you very much, Andy. And the first star of the night, Matthew Barzell, going out in style here. 2 goals and 1 assist. And Matthew, talked to you after 40 minutes, but what can you say about your resiliency here on home ice? And you guys fought back from 2 deficits.
Yeah, it was a heck of a game by our group. We never quit all game, and you know, Wagner missed that breakaway there and had a huge stop from Stankowski, and then we came back and got 2 quick ones, so that helped. Obviously, Stankowski's been great all series, and you know, he played another good game.
How much did that lift the bench at a critical time here? Early third, Wagner going down on the breakaway to keep it 4-3.
I mean, Wagner's obviously probably the fastest player in the league, maybe in CHL, so always got to keep an eye out for him. And you know, we were fortunate enough he didn't score that one. I mean, he's a pretty skilled player, so our goalie has been good all game, and that was a big stop.
Well, it says a lot that you point him out right away. And just one more thing on Stankowski, 16-year-old in WHL age years here, 17. But what has he meant, the young man filling in, stepping in?
Yeah, I said it before. I don't think I've seen a 16-year-old as prepared and as focused as he is. So it's great to see he's so locked in every game, and you know, we got a lot of trust in him now.
It's pretty exciting, but can you explain why you guys seem to love scoring in bunches?
I don't know. I guess, you know, the crowd here gets us excited, and I don't know. I don't know why. It's weird to explain.
How much did you grow professionally, Matthew, early on this season, spending time at the Islanders camp, getting 2 NHL games as well under your belt?
Yeah, it was. You know, I think it helped me a lot. Obviously, got to learn by some pretty good pros. You know, John Tavares. I can't tell you enough how focused he is and how dialed in he is all the time. So just took a lot away from him, and obviously the level of professionalism and consistency every day you got to bring. So it helped me a lot.
More satisfaction for you scoring a goal or setting up a goal?
I do a little more of the setting up, but I like scoring, yeah.
How hungry is this team after falling a little short in this same championship series last year?
It's exciting. That was a big win tonight, but we know this Regina team doesn't quit, and we're going back to their home ice now, and we know they're going to come out flying in Game 6, so we just got to match that.
And you take these home efforts on the road with you? Are you that mature a bunch?
Yeah, we, they got a loud crowd just like us, and I'm sure they feed off their energy too, but, we got to create our own energy on the bench, everybody, being up and excited, so, we're going to come out hard.
All right. There's still a long way to go, Matt, but I want to ask you, it could be, you are eligible next year. It could be your last game in this building, in this uniform. Can you take a second to reflect at what these fans have meant for you, what your time in Seattle has meant to you?
Yeah, it's been a blast. Been some ups and downs when I was a younger guy, but matured so much here in my 4 years. Learned a lot, became a better hockey player, and, I couldn't ask anything more than to go with a championship, so just got to come focused next game.
All right, Matt, thanks for your time. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks, man.
All right, there you go. Andy Neal, Matthew Barzal here. The 2 goals, the 1 assist, 25 points throughout the playoffs here, leading by example. Let's head up to you.
All right, thanks very much, Stu. Assists in 11 straight games for Matthew. Points in all 15. He's the #1 star in the Tony Romo's 3 stars tonight. Another 3-point performance from Keegan Kolazarts, his 5th in the postseason. And Austin Wagner, a goal and an assist, finally breaks through in this series, scoring in the 3rd period. But the Pats once again falling short, and the Seattle Thunderbirds 1 win away from their first Ed Chanel Cup championship. They'll try to do it Sunday in Regina. Here, 11 Machinery, WHL on Shaw and Access.
Christmas Day, I'm gonna ask Steffi to marry me, and I'd really like your blessing. Yeah. No. Look, just give me a couple days to win you over. By Christmas morning, you're gonna be calling me son. I'm gonna be calling you dad.
Don't think that's gonna happen.
I think it's gonna, Dad.
I know it won't.
Dad, it will.
Stop that.
What, Dad?
That, stop that.
Dad, what are you talking about?
Yes, sir, Bob.
Steph, you could be dating anyone. Why Laird?
He makes me really happy.
The War Amps has really helped me be confident and comfortable with my amputation. I honestly haven't found a single thing that I can't do.
Attending the Champ seminars, I've had a lot of great experiences. I've made new friends. I've learned a lot.
Being with all the kids, it's so good to know that there's other people that can help you through everything. The War Amps has given me a chance now to play guitar. I have a special swimming arm.
Without the War Amps, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Hi folks, it's me, Don Taylor, way up here with my friend Murph. At Levitt Machinery, they sell, lease, rent, and service all these machines, and they offer certified training. Need a lift? Stack it, reach it, lift it. Levitt.
Tony Roman's, serving its signature ribs for 40 years. With an expanded menu including steaks, chicken, and seafood, Tony Roman's is a family dining destination. Tony Roman's, legendary for ribs, famous for so much more.
Well, the Seattle Thunderbirds, who celebrated a Western Conference championship for the 2nd straight year, they won 35 of 46 this year here at the ShoWare Center. So they did plenty of damage here in Kent, Washington during the year, and now bound for the Saskatchewan Capital, 1 game away from their first Ed Chanel Cup championship, 7-4 win alongside Kevin Sawyer and Joey Kenward. And Kevin, what do we make now of the turn of the series and Seattle outscoring Regina 13-5 in the last 2 games?
Well, I'd say the power play has something to do with that. They went 2 for 7 in Game 4 tonight. 3 for 5, and we looked at the chances in Game 4. They outchanced Regina 25-6, and Seattle, their depth, and we've talked about how much you have to have your depth to have a chance to win championships and go deep into the playoffs, and right now we're seeing the picture of Seattle's depth only getting better. We're also seeing that top line for Seattle and their best players on fire. We saw Kolesar with a goal and 2 assists in Game 4. Again, a goal and 2 assists tonight. Barzal with 2 goals and an assist, and also Gropp with goals in back-to-back nights. He had a goal and an assist as well. So the depth, your horses are running, those top guys are going, and to me that's been the difference.
11 different
T-Birds hit the score sheet tonight. 9 Pats got points in this hockey game. You're right, the real difference though, and the difference the last couple of games has not only been the fact that Seattle's capitalized on their power plays, they have not taken nearly as many penalties as to what they did at the start of this series at the Brand Center 1 week ago. And that, I know, was a huge talking point behind closed doors for the Thunderbirds, the fact that they had been in the box too much. They had just been giving too many opportunities that gave momentum away to your opposition. Regina's had their opportunities on the power play tonight. They, after building a 2-0 lead, restored their lead, wound up being in a 3-2 advantage, and then it's just been some timely goals in quick succession for Seattle, not just tonight, but for many of their victories here in the postseason, and it's put them in the driver's seat going into Mother's Day Game 6 in Regina.
And sorry, isn't it interesting though, you talk about a detail from coaching with Steve Konowalchuk, 3 or less. 3 or less penalties against, that's the key. You know you're going to take penalties, especially when you compete, but 3 seems to be the number. We talked about that this morning with Konowalchuk, that you can manage. And last night, Regina went 1 for 3. Seattle kept it down to 3, and again tonight, Regina 1 for 3. So there's a huge key. Good point.
And John Paddock must be singing the same message then to his group with the way Seattle's power play has been firing along.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, 4 goals on the road in a championship final, more often than not, is going to give you an opportunity to win. They did have some golden opportunities that they couldn't capitalize on tonight. And when you're talking about a game that's got 11 goals, it's those opportunities that are missed that sometimes will be the determining factor when you think of what was 1 or 2 differences in a playoff hockey game. And I like the way Regina started tonight. I like the way that they pushed back after giving up the lead to Seattle, but it was really a pretty persistent effort by that depth group that the T-Birds have in their forward ranks to be able to take control of this game and eventually now be 60 minutes away from getting to the MasterCard Memorial Cup.
Carl Stankowski got 4 past him tonight, but key times and the big saves that he came up with.
It's all about the moments, and can you rise to the occasion? And I have to be honest, I'm surprised at sometimes that I know how hard it is to play in this league and then to be excellent in key moments. And when you're 16, I mean, you haven't really matured throughout the course of the battles throughout the league. And this kid has come in and he has been beyond his years. And you look at the breakaway, 2 of them tonight from Sam Steele, he turns away both. And then the breakaway save against Wagner, to me, that was the key one. It was a 4-3 game at that time. Regina trailing, Wagner has the breakaway, Stankowski makes the save the next shift. Seattle scores to make it 5-3. So key moments, those are huge saves that your team can really rally around.
Yeah, I think that was at the 1:21 mark of the third period, and you're right, game changer at that particular point. And then exactly 60 seconds later, Nolan Volkin gets a goal that gets momentum back on the side of the home team. And even though Wagner made it very interesting, what I also found very interesting was the fact that a timeout had been called earlier in the night by John Paddock to rest his group after a long shift and an icing call. And you mentioned in the broadcast, when trying to battle back and you've got your goalie pulled to the bench for the extra attacker with just under 4 minutes to go, you'd love to be able to have a timeout to regroup, refocus, and they had their chances. They had some really good looks. Stankowski, though, turned out to be the difference in that third period.
They needed that timeout, didn't they? I mean, a bold move to pull the goaltender just about 4 minutes left, down by 3 goals. Or I think it was 2 goals at that time, actually, but they had puck possession, and their guys were dog-tired with the puck on their stick. They didn't have the timeout, but give credit to those guys coming out. DeWitt had a real good battle shift. They maintained puck possession in the O-zone, so a really good push back by the Pats. It just wasn't quite enough.
Joey, you are okay with the empty net with 3 minutes and change to go?
Absolutely. What have you got to lose at this time of year? And they had some looks, didn't they? Stankowski made a couple of good saves. There's a couple of point-blank opportunities in and around the blue paint that he had to stand tall. And I like the way Regina pressed. I like the way they pushed. They don't leave the ice for lack of effort tonight. What do they have? 21 shots on goal in that third period alone. Only scored, though, on 1 of them. But I think if you're the Seattle Thunderbirds, you've got to, and their fans have to be so delighted with how they have been able to turn the momentum back in their favor. A big offensive outburst in game number 4. 6 goals. 7 tonight, the last one being the Ottenbright empty netter. 13 goals on home ice before you head into an opportunity to clinch a series, albeit on the road. They have given their goaltender run support. And as good as Stankowski has been, I think that now finishes off. They finish off the playoffs 8-2 at home, guys. 7 of those victories, they scored minimum 4 goals.
And keep in mind, too, that the past 2 games, the starts of Regina have been excellent. The first 14 minutes of Game 4, Regina had Seattle hemmed in, but that goes to show you about the resiliency, the belief system that Seattle has, and I think a lot of that does come from their experience in this championship series last year. They didn't go away. They got pushed. You're going to push me? I'm going to push you back. That's their mentality. I'm not talking to you.
Please don't.
You're fine. You're fine.
I'm on a ledge here.
We're on a ledge here, but they didn't go away. And again, tonight, 2 quick goals against, and they just believed, and they continued, and they got themselves right back in it.
We got the Regina Pats talking about their Game 5 loss tonight.
John, just your thoughts on the game as you look ahead to going back home for Game 6.
Well, I think the big thing is you got to stay out of the penalty box. It's really simple.
Connor, just what did you see out there tonight, and also I guess bleeding over to last game as well?
I mean, John already said it. We took too many penalties. They've got a killer power play, and we're just shooting ourselves in the foot. So we got to regroup and come out more disciplined.
Dawson, looking ahead to going back home, I think that's the momentum that you guys need to get you over the top.
Yeah, for sure. I guess going home's not going to hurt us. Having the home crowd behind us will be good. We just need to go out and play our game and stay out of the box.
John, the penalties aside, what's the prevailing message to your guys as you look to, I guess, make a stand at home here?
Well, I think that's this big starting point. So, I mean, the game was 3-3. If nobody had any power play goals, and I don't really have much other than that. I think there's some things you can do better, but that's the starting point. You can't beat yourself.
Is it the penalties that you attribute some of the swings that they've scored some in bunches? Is that what you identify?
Well, I don't know. Clearly, the first 2 goals were scored fairly quick and on the penalty kill. So, they score in bunches. We scored 2 quick ones. I mean, that's just hockey.
Connor, do you derive some confidence from going home, or is it difficult to do that, to look at it that way when you're facing elimination?
Well, we've been in this position before, right? So obviously a little bit different being the final round, but with home ice, that gives you confidence. It's back in Regina, so we have to use that for some momentum and use it however we can.
What do you guys have to do specifically to maybe put some pressure on them so you're not feeling the pressure as you head home?
Well, kind of the common theme of what's been said so far, we have to stay out of the box, and we have to control the puck more. The less they have the puck, obviously the less chances they're going to get, and that's our strength is working them down low and stuff like that. So we got to get back to more of that.
How easy or how difficult will it be to regroup from this game?
Oh, well, it's tough. It's not easy. It's hockey. Things happen, and we have no choice but to come back and keep trying. That's the way we're built, and that's what we're going to
do. John, you guys have been down in that Swift Current series. I'm thinking about, and you guys came back and won that. Is there any specific lessons you learned from hanging in there and fighting off elimination a couple times?
Well, yeah, I think it gives you a little bit of confidence. I'm not a big one that believes in confidence. You have confidence if you do things right, so we did things right there when we're down in that situation. So if we do things right, and that covers a few things, but we've talked about the biggest one, then you give yourself a really good chance. And we're going to go win the first game there. But, we have lots of belief in the team, lots of belief going back to the building. That's why we did all we could to finish first overall this year, to have that. So we believe it's going to work out.
Connor, the
last 3 games you guys have come out with great starts. Does that also give you confidence as long as you know maybe don't shoot yourselves in the foot with taking penalties, whatever, but three straight games on the road, you've had the great starts. If you just continue that process, I think good things can come.
Well, yeah. We just have to find a way to stick to the process and not get away from it. Like you said, we've had really good starts the last 3 games, and we just have to find whatever the key is to just keep going and not, lose our heads and end up in the box.
Is this where you guys can lean on your composure that you guys have shown all year as well? Maybe the scoreline doesn't totally reflect how close the game actually was as well, or do you just throw this out?
Well, I think that, they are a really good team, and they went through it to the finals last year, and that helps them. And we've gone back to, and we believe it did in the series this year, but last year in Game 7 in Red Deer, we're a younger team, and we went through it. We played really good. We beat them pretty bad in Game 6. So I think that we've gone through maybe not as much, and we're not quite as old a team as them, but that's the kind of stuff that we're going to lean on. That's the kind of stuff that Dawson's been through in this division over here. Connor and the guys were through last year, so you can't live in the past, but we outshot Red Deer 15-5 in their building in the 3rd period there. So that's in the past, so you can't live on it, but we've experienced a lot of stuff over a calendar year, so I think that it's going to benefit us.
John, you had Brown give up, 12 goals in 2 games. Are you going to reevaluate that starting position?
No.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so Dawson Leadall, who scored tonight, his first goal in 6 games, so that was big. Connor Hobbs joined him. He threw a huge hit in the 3rd period as well, and head coach John Paddock. But you mentioned, Joey, as we were watching that, 4th time now Regina's facing elimination. So they've been down this road before.
Yeah, they have seen this movie before. 3 times, of course, in that Eastern Conference semifinal series with the Swift Current Broncos. They needed to battle back. After being down 3-1, they wound up winning Game 7 at home. And the key game, I think, was, if I'm not mistaken, Game 5 in Swift Current. They were down 3-1 going into the late stages of period 2, and they didn't give up another goal against. And Brown was able to shut the door. And there should be no question about who the starting goalie is going to be for Regina. Just like there should be no controversy at all as to who the starting goalie is going to be for Seattle. Yes, Seattle burned the T-Birds with a lot of offense these last couple of games. But Regina is going home, and although they don't lead the series, they do have one thing in their favor, and that's home ice advantage in an elimination game. And I think that will be a message that John Paddock and the rest of his staff will be saying to those players, that you've got to use that to your advantage. You cannot afford to take anything for granted, no matter what the series shows and no matter where the series is being played.
And you think about Game 4 against Swift Current too, where the Pats, they lost that crushing game in triple overtime, and so they've shown more resiliency too. That's not an easy thing to come back from. You go triple overtime, you don't get the win, but they not only rebounded, but that was the start of that big 3-game comeback.
Can't wait. 6,400 and change at the Brandt Center. It was loud here. It's been loud in Regina. We've been treated to unbelievable atmospheres in this championship series. But we've heard them talk about quick starts, 4 straight games opening the scoring, but 2 leads tonight, 1 2-goal lead, but they just haven't been able to hold on to them. How much of a concern is this now for Regina? And does that get in their head when they get ahead that, these guys are coming?
Yeah, well, I think that's a big part of what we've seen, and going to be a big part of what's going to happen is Regina has to get, we talked about all in the Open for an example, they have to get guys that have been giving good efforts to give those efforts throughout the course of 60 minutes plus. So we need guys like All, Henry, they need to chip in, and not just for a shift here or a 7-minute span there, because there's no knock on those guys. They've been good, but it's just, it needs to be that push from top to bottom right throughout.
Well, let's hear from the Seattle Thunderbirds, who are 1 win away from the championship.
Ethan Bear, head coach Steve Konowalchuk, and forward Matthew Barzil. Steve, another solid performance by your group at home tonight. What were your thoughts on the game?
I thought our guys did a good job just sticking with it, from the start to the finish. Just keep playing, not really worrying about the scoreboard too much, but just playing the game the right way.
Steve, you talk about lessons learned from last year. I think about last year's, you guys had third period leads in the finals that went the other way. They go ahead in the second, and you guys rebound back. Is that some experience there that's paying off for you now?
I don't think we're thinking about last year at all. I think we teach these things, and we, as coaches, ask the players to do the right things all the regular season and all through the playoffs, and nothing changes here. But no, we're not looking back to last year. We're just trying to play our game.
And they scored 2 goals right off the bat, kind of quieted the crowd down a little bit, and you guys bounced back. Those power plays were pretty huge. It seemed like it ignited everybody in the building and in the team as well.
For sure, it's good to get right back in the game. But again, the guys just kept playing, and it's just so important that you just, you try not to get too up and too down within the games, and after a game, just try to keep everything even.
And Matt, obviously the win was the most important thing, but your last game here at ShoWare Center, you have a big night. How special is that for you?
Yeah, it's cool. It's been a great 4 years here, and matured a lot as a player and a person. So to go with a nice night like that is, it's couldn't ask for more, and now obviously just chasing that next one.
And Ethan, same question to you. It's probably your last game here as well, and not only that, but what's the key then moving forward here now and going back to Regina?
I think just refocusing, getting ready to play. Both desperate teams here. They're going to come out ready to go. So we just gotta play with a lot of intensity and keep our emotions in check.
And Matt, they get out to that early 2-0 lead. As a veteran on the bench, did you feel you need to say anything, or did you guys kind of keep going as planned?
Yeah, there were a couple guys that stepped up and just said not to worry. There's still, I think it was 55 minutes left still in the game, so I really like the way we responded, and we just kept pushing after that.
And Ethan, the power play's really been clicking for you guys. Anything special you guys are doing there?
I think just moving it and getting in a scoring chance and being ready to shoot, and there's nothing too special. Just moving the puck and being ready to shoot the puck.
Steve, what can you say about the battle level that you're seeing from young Carl Stankowski right now? The big save, obviously, in the third period to keep it.
Huge saves in the second half of that game too. When the other team's making a push, you get the timely save. It's so important. He's just he's a confident kid and a good goaltender.
What is it with the scoring in bunches? Is that just a momentum thing, do you feel? Is that an energy thing, or is it just
we just try to keep playing. It happens when it happens. We try to keep playing the game, and our guys just keep working hard, and they come when they come.
Steve, what's your sense of the challenge in front of you now? You got 2 shots at this, but is it safe to say you obviously focus on Game 6 and go from there?
Yeah, again, I don't think the players need to focus on the outcome. Just focus on playing the game the right way. Get out there and just focus playing the right way and doing the things you can control, and then you reassess after the game.
Does anything change for you guys going into that building?
I don't think so. I think the games have all been tight and competitive, and we expect the same.
Congratulations on another win. Looking at not pulling ahead until the second period, but it wasn't really reflected in the goals shot and some of the intensity of the play. So moving forward, you're going to evaluate that. Is that important as we go into Game 6?
Important that why it took so long to get ahead, or
yeah, it didn't really reflect.
You can't control that sometimes. You really can't. I mean, the other team's going to have a little bit of say in what they do, and their goaltender's going to have some say, and then we have to control. We can control. You can't always control when you're going to score the goals, and I thought it was important that Carl did buckle down to keep it just within 2 goals, and then next thing you know, we did start scoring some goals. But you can't always control when you're going to get the outcome.
No, but and Carl was on fire, but getting that jump early, and last game as well, they scored early. So does that need to tighten up in the first few minutes?
Yeah, you know what, we'll look at things. We'll look at things that maybe we can do a little bit better, a little bit differently. They come out hard. They usually have 2-3 real hard shifts there, and we want to make sure that we're ready to start the game. But we'll take the good things we did, and then we'll correct some of the mistakes.
And Steve, you had Scotty up against Steel Line a lot again tonight, and they did another good job of matching up. You're going to have last change. I'm guessing Matt's probably going to get a lot of that in Regina. Or how confident do you feel with either one of those lines?
It's a nice luxury to have. I expect them both to be able to go out there and play good against those lines, and I expect Truzy can as well. So it's a hard challenge. It's a real good line, but I have confidence in our guys.
And moving Gropp down to the third line, Niles up to the first line, it seems like things have really been clicking for everybody around them as well. What can you point to that's led to everybody kind of stepping up in the last couple games?
Well, it's there's not a lot of room out on the ice, and Donnie wins a lot of battles, so it helps. He can play the grind-out game a little bit, and so it helps them have the puck, and then Groppy going down with Truzy gives it an additional skill level, and maybe just adds a little bit to now we're all three at times can maybe be a scoring threat.
And Matt, in a series with two pretty evenly matched teams, you guys have been scoring on the power play and converting on the power play. How much of a difference does that make when the teams are so closely matched?
It obviously helps a ton. Their PP's been very good as well, and obviously the special teams battle in this series has played a huge key in pretty much every win. So, I thought our guys did a good job tonight, and they got a really good PK with some dangerous threats. So we always got to be on our toes.
And Steve, the crowd tonight.
Well, head coach Steve Konowalchuk, flanked by the two scoring leaders in this championship series, Matt Barzal and Ethan Bear, both have 8 points with a goal and 7 assists. 3 points from Barzal, 2 assists from Ethan Bear tonight. And so Seattle, it's amazing how different it is. We just heard from Regina facing elimination, and Seattle, Joey, goes into it with a chance to clinch. And last year, remember, Brandon lost the year before. They lost their first chance to clinch, but got it done in the second game.
It's been a while since we've seen a 2-3-2 format go right to the brink of 7 games, and I was very fortunate enough to have been a part of that memorable 2007 WHL Championship between the Vancouver Giants and the Medicine Hat Tigers, and there's a lot of similarities through 5 games as to what there were through 5 that year. Vancouver had a 3-2 series lead going into Medicine Hat for Game 6 and 7. There started to be some blowouts in that series, just like we've seen scores run up here in Seattle, and I think that this series is by no means over, because the Regina Pats only once all year lost 3 games in a row in regulation, and they'll definitely be a team that's uber motivated on home ice to try to keep things alive in front of their fans.
And Kevin, what do you think about Seattle and the way they're going right now and their opportunity? And we saw face-offs. They won 2/3 of the face-offs tonight, and an opportunity to close it out.
Well, it's one of the details, and face-offs to me was a huge part of the story tonight, where in the second period alone they won 15-20. We talked about it in the broadcast. They didn't lose a specialty teams face-off. But to answer your question, how I'm feeling about them, I'm feeling fairly good about what I'm seeing in their game, and I like the way that their coach made changes. Konowalchuk took Gropp off that top line and put him with Alexander True, and things weren't working. And that's what good coaches do, is they try new things and they give their players the best opportunity to succeed. And I think he's made the proper adjustments to give everybody the most opportunity to succeed. That's what we're seeing right now, and that hockey team right now is getting a lot out of everybody, looking pretty good.
They'll be feeling pretty good on the plane tomorrow as we leave at noon Pacific time for Regina. Seattle's up 3-2 with a 7-4 win in Game 5 of the WHL Championship on Shaw, Access, and this TV.
Levitt Machinery WHL Hockey is live on Shaw. Catch the NHL stars of tomorrow today. The road to WHL Championship glory ends here when the Regina Pats battle the Seattle Thunderbirds for the right to be crowned Ed Chenault Cup champions. For complete playoff broadcast information, visit shawtv.ca or whl.ca.
Hi, I'm Don Taylor here at Levitt Machinery, inviting you to watch Levitt Machinery's WHL on Shaw.
Well, a sold-out crowd here at the ShoWare Center in Kent, Washington. 2 teams with 2 wins in the bank, trying to take a 3-2 series lead to Regina. Regina jumped out early, 2 quick goals, but Seattle would respond a couple of times in deficit and then roll to a 7-4 decision tonight and grab that 3-2 series lead. And they will be the first team in the series with a chance to lift the Ed Chenault Cup as we go to Game 6 in Regina Sunday night. And it starts at 6 o'clock Mountain Time, 5 o'clock Pacific. Hope you can join us from the Brandt Center, sold out in Regina. For all of us, and a big special thank you to the crew here from Vancouver who produce these last 3 games here in Seattle. You do such great work, such great friends as well. We thank you so much. Peter Labardius, Kevin Sawyer, Joey Kenward, Stu Walters, and the crew. I'm Andy Gill. So long from Kent. We'll talk to you again Sunday night.